Chapter 1924. But out of the steward's expectation, after a commotion, the people below immediately expressed their acceptance. Someone immediately shouted, "I'll be the first. I'm the most sincere." Bullshit. I'm even more sincere. What qualifications do you have to be the first? I'm still the first. Cough. I say, the two of you stop fighting. The first will definitely be me. No one has more sincerity than me. You guys take your time to fight. I'll go in first. Sincerity isn't based on words. It's based on actual actions. Originally from P. Stop. Get back here. The steward was instantly stunned. They actually didn't feel that this was a form of humiliation. Why did they fight over it instead? This attitude was simply rather sincere. What kind of situation was this? The steward was at a loss. Suddenly, someone took the initiative to come over. With a friendly smile, he said, "This brother, I think you look very familiar. Have we met before?" The steward followed the voice and looked over. The person beside him was an elder from the underworld sect. The underworld sect was the second largest sect in the Heaven Valley. It was even above the dreamlike secular pavilion. This elder in front of him was an extremely powerful figure in the underworld sect. To be honest, the steward did recognize this elder. But he definitely wouldn't recognize the steward. Why did this fellow's memory suddenly become so good? "You're the elder of the underworld sect?" The steward asked. Where was his identity? He didn't dare to offend him at all. Yes, it's this old man. Brother, let me tell you. The moment I saw you, I liked you from the bottom of my heart. It's as though I've seen my own brother. Today is the first time we've met. As an elder brother, I don't have anything good. This jade pendant is for you as a meeting gift to express my sincerity. This isn't much. It's just a little bit of sincerity. After saying that, he passed over a piece of bright yellow jade pendant. The steward was also the elite backbone of the super sect in Mo Yuntian. He naturally knew what was good for him. When he saw the jade pendant, he was shocked. This jade pendant seemed to be the unique treasure of the underworld sect, untainted weak water. It was said that this item was a secret treasure unique to the underworld sect. It was meticulously refined using the Yellow Springs jade as the main material. It was adept at countering all kinds of poisonous substances in the world. Only those with authority in the underworld sect and above could possess it. No other sect had ever been able to replicate it. Not to mention possessing such a treasure, this was the first time he had even seen it. Such a rare treasure. And you're giving it to me just like that? The steward really didn't believe it. The steward was in a daze. That elder of the underworld sect. Does this little gift of yours count as sincere? She purposely used the word sincere in her tone. His attitude was not just sincere, it was extremely sincere. The steward subconsciously he opened of the underworld sect. But before he could say anything, a group of people gathered around him. One of them gave him a jade pendant, another gave him a gem, and the other two directly gave him 2 purple soul crystal jades to express their sincerity. We underworld, you underworld of this. What's going on? The steward was in a daze. He didn't know that these people were all hoping to talk to Chu Yang alone. If geniuses were to be with others, it would be strange if they didn't fight till their heads bled. It would be normal for someone to die. After all, this was related to the future of the sect. Chu Yang had already made it clear. If he wanted everyone's sincerity, he would naturally do whatever he could to show his sincerity. The steward might be a bridge to meet Chu Yang. What was the big deal about giving something? Everyone went back and forth, fighting for it happily. Everyone understood the current situation. Whoever was in front would have a huge advantage. As for what would happen later, that was hard to say. No one knew how many geniuses there were in this batch. Even if there were a lot, it wouldn't be good. Maybe the first place would swallow them all. There were too many wolves and too little meat. Everyone had the same thought. Everyone's thoughts were about the same. If the result was really like that, everyone could only wait to go hungry. Therefore, no one was willing to back down. Originally, when the top 10 sects saw the Heavenly Sword Alliance, they would all back down. However, Today, they were all unyielding as if they had taken aphrodisiac. Even if they died, they wouldn't back down. Everyone, don't fight. Seeing that this wasn't a solution, the steward went to consult Chu Yang. He told them of Chu Yang's decision. Since everyone doesn't have a unified understanding, let's go according to the ranking of the sections. What do you think of this order? I agree unconditionally. Yun Tian laughed. The top sects applauded loudly. One of the elders from the underworld sect signaled to the steward that his unstained weak water was worth it. Although he wasn't the first to enter, he was still the second in line. Once these people joined forces, their power was quite terrifying. The sects behind could only swallow their anger. They all looked at Yun Tian and an elder from the Heavenly Sword Alliance with murderous eyes. Everyone was nervous. Who didn't know how strong and greedy the Heavenly Sword Alliance was? Especially in this kind of situation, even if they weren't greedy, they had to be. Everyone prayed in their hearts, please don't let these people snatch away all the talents. Even if you want to eat meat, leave some soup for us. Brother Chu, let me introduce you. This is the leader of the Heavenly Sword Alliance this time. He is also the third elder of the Heavenly Sword Alliance, I Ching Kong Crane, Mu Tsangxue, Yun Tian introduced. I've heard a lot about you. I hope everyone can become friends, Chu Yang said with seemingly enthusiasm. Elder Mu's face twitched fiercely. You're already at odds with Heavenly Emperor Ink Cloud. Who the hell wants to be friends with you? This sentence was simply the most vicious curse in the world. I've heard a lot about you. Elder Mu's first sentence scared Chu Yang so much that he broke out in cold sweat. He resisted the urge to wipe his sweat and squeezed out a smile that looked better than crying. Yun Tian smiled and said, Brother Chu, this time, I've prepared all the treasures. I believe everyone will have a pleasant transaction. Chu Yang smiled and said, Is that so? I've also prepared everything on my side. I hope everyone can have a smooth transaction. Yun Tian smiled warmly. His crescent moons were like eyebrows. His eyes flickered continuously. Brother Chu, this time, you can't be stingy. Chu Yang endured Yun Tian's charming stimulation and shuddered. Don't worry, Brother Yun. Am I that kind of person? Yun Tian also shuddered. Aren't you that kind of person? He laughed dryly and said, Brother Chu, state your terms. Chu Yang pondered for a moment and said, That still has to see what kind of things Brother Yun brings. If there's goods, there'll naturally be people. Yun Tian laughed and said, Brother Chu, let's not beat around the bush. Now, it's already not 3 days ago. The current situation is that Brother Chu has offended Heavenly Emperor Ink Cloud. The Chu clan's situation is worry. It'll be difficult for the entire clan to escape. If we let this bunch of children stay here, the consequences will be too much of a pity. Too much of a pity? Of course, it was too much of a pity to die. Yun Tian pondered for a moment and said, If Brother Chu trusts me, there's no harm in handing over all these children to me. I'll bring them all away. Firstly, apart from ensuring their safety, I can also give them a decent future. Secondly, consider it as me owing Brother Chu a favor. This Yun will definitely return it. Thirdly, it can also be considered as resolving one of Brother Chu's current worries. What does Brother Chu think? A cold light flashed in Chu Yang's eyes, and he said indifferently, Even if I can't protect them, I can still send them back. Where they came from, I'll naturally send them back to that place. If Brother Yun wants to reap without sowing, then Brother Yun doesn't need to say any more. Forgive me for not sending you off. Brother Yun, please do as you wish. I still have many guests to entertain. Yun Tian immediately recalled that Chu Yang had once said that these children were all created by that mysterious existence. This, only to see Chu Yang stand up. Brother Yun's words are kind and clear the current situation. Tomorrow morning, I'll send these children away. As long as they reach there, I believe that everything will return to normal. Then, he picked up the teacup and lowered his head to drink gently. The meaning of sending off guests with tea couldn't be more obvious. Yun Tian laughed loudly. Brother Chu, I was just joking with you just now. Why did you take it so seriously? Let's get down to business quickly. Brother Chu, Why don't you take a look at the things I've brought over this time? Chu Yang rolled his eyes and looked at him for a while. Then he smiled slightly and said, Brother Yun is indeed the #1 person of the younger generation. This breadth of mind of yours is already beyond the reach of ordinary people. I admire you. Yun Tian laughed loudly and was extremely candid. Brother Chu, I've always been a straightforward person. I was just joking just now. Please don't laugh at me. If I were to believe you, then how retarded would I be? Chu Yang cursed angrily in his heart. Then he chuckled and said, Since that's the case, then let's get back to business. Brother Yun, how many do you want? Yun Tian pondered for a while. He stretched out his palm and flipped it over. After thinking for a while, he flipped it over again and said, How about these? 20 people? Sure. Chu Yang narrowed his eyes and agreed immediately. Not 20 people. Yun Tian's expression was serious. What I want is 2,000 people. I wonder if Brother Chu has enough? Chu Yang's eyelids drooped and he said, No. He directly rejected him. This guy's appetite is too big. He wants 2,000 people at once? Aren't you afraid of dying from overeating? Even if I can take out 2,000 people, can you afford the price? Yun Tian hurriedly analyzed Chu Yang's words and said, Brother Chu, you shouldn't have no, right? Chu Yang said lazily, Even if I have, I can't give you so many. Even if it's your Sky Sword Alliance, you want to nurture 2,000 geniuses in one go? You're simply indulging in fantasy. Chu Yang's words made Yun Tian's eyes brighten suddenly. The other meaning of Chu Yang's words was, there were 2,000 geniuses here. Really? The Sky Sword Alliance won't have so many resources, but I have other places. Yun Tian said sincerely, Please help me, Brother Chu. Chapter 1925. I said no, that means no. Chu Yang said impatiently. Although Chu Yang was also anxious to find a way out for these children, if he gave Yun Tian 2,000 at once, and Yun Tian still had the ability to nurture these children, then the whole situation of Heaven K would be set in stone at this moment. This was something Chu Yang absolutely did not want to see. Then, 1,500 will do. Yun Tian took a step back. That's still not enough. Chu Yang snorted. At most, 1,200. 1,300. Yun Tian continued to raise the price. If he could get 100 more, it would be 100 more. 1,200, no more. Chu Yang clenched his teeth and refused to let go. 1,200, 500. Yun Tian began to lower the price of his own accord, but he was still stubborn. You are the one who is 200, 500. Just 1,200. There is no room for discussion. If you still have any objections, then just leave. You might as well not take a single one, that will save you a lot of trouble. Chu Yang rolled his eyes. Yun Tian was exasperated. Let me tell you, this 1,200 is not for free. If you want it, you have to take out enough heavenly treasures and rare metals. If you can't take it out, not to mention 1,200, you won't even get a single one. Chu Yang's attitude was extremely firm. Yun Tian sighed and said, Fine, we will do as Brother Chu says. As he spoke, he took out another space ring from his own space ring and handed it to Chu Yang. Brother Chu, take a look at these, what do you think? Chu Yang took it and opened the space ring. When he used his spiritual power to look inside, he immediately felt a little dizzy. The Heaven Sword Alliance was indeed the Heaven Sword Alliance. Its foundation was really solid. Inside, it was densely packed with rare materials. The red cloud steel that Chu Yang had once regarded as a treasure was just piled up in a corner very sullenly. Nightmare silver, nightmare gold, barefoot essence gold. Mithril, wind copper, star iron. What is this thing? Chu Yang waved his hand, and a large piece of metal fell on the table. With a kacha sound, the black sandalwood table, which was known for its hardness and stability, cracked under the pressure. However, it didn't disintegrate completely. Instead, the entire table started to descend slowly towards the ground. Chu Yang was shocked and hurriedly used his hands to support it. Judging from the current situation, this piece of metal was only about the size of a human head. It actually weighed tens of thousands of kilograms? This is the heart of stars. Yun Tian said, it is the most essential part of a fallen star. Compared to the so-called star iron, it is inferior in both quality and quantity. They're millions of times stronger. Oh, Chu Yang asked, take this core of stars as an example. How do you want to exchange it? There is only one piece of this item in the entire world. After Yun Tian finished speaking, he stared at Chu Yang for a long while. How about 100? 100? You want to trade this thing for 100 people? Chu Yang cried out in shock. He threw the heart of stars to Yun Tian as if it was scalding his hand. Forget it. Take this back and we'll talk about other things. Yun Tian was dumbfounded. Brother Chu, this is perhaps a rare treasure in the entire world and you actually don't fancy it. Disdain? Chu Yang coldly said, of course, I don't fancy it. I believe that the weight and quality of this thing are indeed thousands of times better than ordinary star iron. However, what can this thing be used for? I'm certain that no matter if it's you or the Heavenly Sword Alliance, it's absolutely impossible for them to refine this heart of stars. You actually dared to ask for 100 of such a piece of junk? What are you thinking? Do you really think I'm a fool? Yun Tian was speechless. The truth was as Chu Yang said. This piece of iron was indeed impossible to refine. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been preserved until now. A piece of trash that you can't refine. No matter how good it is, it's still just a piece of scrap iron. Even smashing people with it is tiring. Chu Yang was merciless. If it wasn't for the fact that it's the only piece in the entire Heavenly Imperial Court, I wouldn't even bother to bargain with you. What use do I have for something that can't be used at all? 100? You really dare to think about it? Yun Tian sighed. Since that's the case, Brother Chu, name a price. As long as it's acceptable, I won't bargain. I don't have a price either. We're making a deal now, but I'm not selling a child. Chu Yang was slightly angry. You've already taken out this piece of trash's heart. I'll give you face and exchange it with you. But let's say this first. If the rest are all like this, let's not make a deal to avoid hurting our relationship. 1. Yun Tian exclaimed in shock. He couldn't help but be a little angry. This is the #1 metal in the world. It's definitely not fake. #1 metal in the world? Please take your #1 metal in the world. You can turn around and go back. Chu Yang threw it over directly. Yun Tian caught it quickly. From Chu Yang's attitude, it was very clear that he really didn't care about this thing. The problem was that although this thing was valuable, it was indeed useless for Yun Tian to take it back. He said helplessly, all right, one then. I'll accept this exchange. Then next, of course, Yun Tian didn't know that this piece of star core that he thought was useless was incomparably valuable in Chu Yang's eyes. But Minister Chu's crazy bargaining, other than not wanting to give it to others, had an even more important meaning. I'll make you suffer. He didn't have any evidence for the previous incident. But that didn't mean that he couldn't take revenge. Yun Tian gritted his teeth, but there was nothing he could do. Since this deal was done, the next one would be even faster. Now, as long as he could make a deal, it would be cheap. So what if he wasted some resources? Talent was the most important thing now. At this moment, there were people shouting outside, "Are you still not done? Don't be too greedy." Elder Mu stroked his beard and didn't say a word. He smiled as he watched Yun Tian and Chu Yang make a deal. He was very confident in Yun Tian's intelligence. But he definitely didn't expect that this Chu Yang would be so difficult to deal with. He actually forced Yun Tian into a disadvantageous position again and again. A piece of one-of-a-kind star core was actually exchanged for one person. Was this a loss or a loss? Although he did have a favor to ask of him now, it was still the first time in his life that he could make Yun Tian suffer like this. Looking at Chu Yang's mouth, Elder Mu felt a lingering fear in his heart. If I were to negotiate with him, I would have been led into a ditch by him. But looking at Yun Tian, he didn't panic. He didn't need to step in for the time being. But if Yun Tian really couldn't do it, what was the use of him stepping in? Chu Yang counted the items one by one. Although he was belittling them with his mouth, he was getting more and more shocked. Yun Tian's preparations this time were really too ample. Although Chu Yang had already tried his best to lower the price, by the time all the strange metals were counted, he had already paid the price of 100 children. Chu Yang frowned. This had already exceeded his initial estimation. He couldn't help but feel even more displeased. Yun Tian was also frowning. In his calculations, the items that he had already given out were all good items. They could be exchanged for at least 300 to 500 children. But now, there were only 100 in his hands. This was really far below his expectations. He couldn't help but feel a little displeased. So much so that after the two of them finished calculating the strange metals in the ring, they stared at each other. Gone? That's all? Chu Yang stretched his body and said, "That's 100 pounds. If you're done, you can leave." "Who says that's all? There's still more." Yun Tian gritted his teeth and took out another space ring. "There are all the best treasures in here. But this time, I'll count them. Last time, Brother Chu counted them. This time, it's my turn. It's fairer for each of us to count them." Chu Yang nodded indifferently. "Whatever. Anyway, no matter how you count them, I'll just do my best to lower the price. I may not be good at other things, but I'm good at belittling things." Yun Tian took out the items one by one very cautiously. Chu Yang didn't move at all. He smashed them down like a machine, using all his strength to belittle them. Yun Tian fought back. And so, the two of them engaged in a battle of words for more than an hour. In the end, these treasures were sold for a total of 250 children. 250. This number left Yun Tianjin dumbfounded. Yun Tian suddenly felt that he was an idiot. 251. Yun Tian gritted his teeth. His eyes were a little ferocious. One more was one more. It couldn't be 250. "No way." Chu Yang gloated. "You're going to get 250 this time. Not even one more." Yun Tian glared fiercely. Chu Yang didn't back down. "You win." Yun Tian gritted his teeth. He turned to Elder Mu and said, "Elder Mu, what do you think?" Elder Mu sighed. "That's enough. This is already not easy." What he meant was that this Chu Yang was a monster. He was simply too difficult to deal with. It was like picking out a meteorite from an egg. It was already not easy to get to this point. Honestly speaking, if it was him, even 150 would be too much. It was really not easy for Yun Tian to get to this point. Yun Tian heaved a sigh of relief and said, "In this case, our Sky Sword Alliance's items have been exchanged for 350 geniuses." Elder Mu looked relieved. Chu Yang called. "Wait, Brother Chu." Yun Tian took out another space ring. "Look inside. This is my clan's and the Extreme Heaven Government's request." "Your clan's request and the Extreme Heaven Government's request?" In other words, it's a transaction that doesn't involve the Sky Sword Alliance. Chu Yang frowned. He suddenly thought of something and looked up at Yun Tian. Yun Tian smiled and nodded lightly. "Damn." Chu Yang cursed angrily in his heart. So this bastard's identity is actually so awesome. His origin seems to be even higher than Yuan Chu's. Chapter 1926. The two space rings that Yun Tian gave him were much bigger than the two space rings of the world's #1 sect, Sky Sword Alliance. Also, there were all kinds of things inside. They were more complete, more high-end and more valuable, especially the heavenly treasures inside. They were even older. Almost every one of them was a top-grade elixir that had reached maturity. "I've been tricked." This was Chu Yang's first reaction when he saw them. This bastard, he actually took out the second-rate ones first and made me think that was all. I didn't expect him to take out a huge one right after. With the previous comparison, there was very little room for him to lower the price even if he wanted to. What a meticulous scheme. Following that, Chu Yang continued to push down the price with all his might. However, Yun Tian managed to find a reason to do so. "You already gave me one of the 30,000-year-old ones. This 50,000-year-old one, shouldn't you at least give me two?" Every time, he would use this excuse to force Chu Yang to give in. Chu Yang had a headache. This was really a new trick. In this round of transactions, Chu Yang was actually at a disadvantage. When the 2 space rings were completely done, Yun Tian's face was red and his eyes were red. His forehead was full of sweat. Chu Yang also seemed to have fought a strong enemy and was panting. The final tally was actually 110. This number was undoubtedly beyond Chu Yang's expectations and even broke through his maximum budget. No, we agreed on a maximum of 1,200. Chu Yang was furious and started to turn hostile. How much should be how much should be? You have to be fair. Yun Tian was furious. He slammed the table and stood up. A man can't stand without integrity. I'll do whatever I say. Chu Yang, don't go back on your word. Let me tell you, this time, not a single one can be left out. 2 times, it'll be a total of 1,250. Also, it must include the 8 that I saw in your study that day. I want all of them. Chu Yang stood up angrily. Just as he was about to speak, he suddenly rolled his eyes. Okay, a man can't stand without integrity. It's a deal. Those treasures that you saw in my study that day? You have a good plan and I have a ladder. Even my face can't do anything to me. What can you do with this little trick of yours? Let's ride a donkey and read a songbook. Let's see who has the last laugh. Brother Chu is straightforward. Your words carry the weight of the world. It's settled then. Yun Tian nodded vigorously. Good. Chu Yang smiled and said in a cordial manner, this transaction is a success. Yun Tian, on the other hand, was not used to it. All right. Of course. Chu Yang righteously said, I'm a real man. Smashing a hole with a mouthful of saliva. A word spoken cannot be taken back. Good. Brother Chu is truly straightforward. Yun Tian laughed loudly. Finally, he felt relieved. When can I take them away? Brother Chu should know that someone from Mo Yuntian's side might come at any time. This matter is urgent and cannot be delayed. How could I not understand this logic? But we have to wait until everyone has come here once. Don't worry. At that time, Brother Yun can be the first to come and take him away. Chu Yang was unusually straightforward and organized. Deal. Yun Tian's eyes lit up. Take them away first. There was a huge difference between him and the people he brought with him. I won't go back on my word. Chu Yang nodded vigorously. Yun Tian and Elder Mu put down the 4 rings. They didn't even want the spatial rings and gave them to Chu Yang. Anyway, to people like them, although the spatial rings were precious, they weren't anything special. Chu Yang, on the principle of not rejecting anything and taking advantage of everything, accepted all of them with a smile. Chu Yang shouted at the top of his lungs. The manager at the door shouted at the top of his lungs. If it was said that Chu Yang had made a fortune today, then he had made a fortune. Previously, when Yun Tian and the elder of the Sky Sword Union entered, they even casually gave him a piece of purple crystal soul jade. He had really made a fortune. If it wasn't for the fact that he had the murderous cloud heaven tribulation with him, just based on today's harvest, he would have been extremely wealthy. The second to arrive was the Underworld sect. It was previously introduced as the second-ranked sect in the Heaven Imperial Court. It was in the Extreme Heaven along with Yun Tian's Sky Sword Alliance. And the black-clothed youth who came in was also a contestant from the Underworld sect this time, the number 1 genius. Seeing Yun Tian walk out, the black-clothed youth's eyes shot out a strong ray of light. Brother Yun, you must have returned with a bountiful harvest? I believe Brother Han won't be disappointed this time. Yun Tian smiled and left. The black-clothed youth looked at Yun Tian's back quietly for a while before he turned around and entered. Accompanying him were 2 other elders. One of them was the elder who had previously given the manager the unstained water jade pendant. He did not enter the room, but instead started to chat with the manager. In reality, he had used his own cultivation to completely isolate all sounds from the outside world. Accompanying the black-clothed youth was a black-clothed old man with a deathly pale complexion that resembled a skeleton. One could almost see his bones from his face. If it weren't for the wrinkled layer of skin, one would almost think that he was a living skeleton here. And his figure was as tall as a bamboo pole. When Chu Yang saw her, he was really shocked. Brother Chu, I'm Han Lingyun. This is my martial uncle, the second elder of the underworld sect, Jiao Changtian. The one outside is also an elder of the underworld sect, Meng Xiaoran. Han Lingyun smiled slightly. Brother Chu, speaking of which, this isn't the first time we've met. But I'm afraid you didn't notice me before, so this can be considered as the first time we've met. Chu Yang laughed and said, Brother Han, what are you saying? I've neglected you before. Please take a seat. Elder Jiao, please take a seat too. My humble abode is really simple and crude. If there's any neglect, I hope the two of you won't blame me. You're too kind. Elder Jiao's face that only had a layer of skin actually revealed a smile. But if this smile was seen by a timid person, they would definitely be scared silly. Because of this smile, those two eyes directly turned into two black holes, emitting a deep light. Speaking of which, my martial uncle is also very famous in the extreme heavens. But because of my martial uncle's appearance, the people of the extreme heavens have given him another nickname. Han Lingyun smiled and said, Nickname? Chu Yang looked very interested. What nickname? Skeleton Spirit. Han Lingyun smiled and said, Some people say that when a skeleton unsheathes his sword, all the spirits in the world will be slaughtered. Good name. Chu Yang looked at the appearance of this skeleton spirit Jiao Changtian, and couldn't help but clap his hands and praise. This name really lives up to its name, it's extremely appropriate. Just a mere inferior nickname, please don't laugh at me. Skeleton spirit Jiao Changtian chuckled, revealing a mouthful of big yellow teeth with purplish-black edges. Chu Yang laughed dryly. Ha, this guy's cultivation is so high, but he doesn't know how to clean his teeth. This is really too unhygienic. Brother Chu, what do you think about today's matter? Han Lingyun smiled faintly. His demeanor and temperament were impeccable, not inferior to Yun Tian at all. Well, there are actually a lot of people who know about my matters here. In fact, it's just a coincidence. That senior once said. Chu Yang paused for a moment. A lie would become the truth if it was repeated 1,000 times. Now, he was repeating the same big words again and again. Even he himself was about to believe it. At the very least, when Minister Chu said this set of lies now, his expression absolutely did not change and his heart did not skip a beat. It was watertight, flawless, and untraceable. That's not a problem. Han Lingyun chuckled. Brother Chu, how many did Yun Tian's side exchange? Chu Yang smiled apologetically. It's really not convenient for me to tell you. But I want to know, how many can your side take? Han Lingyun pondered for a moment and said, 500, I believe this number should not be a problem for us. Chu Yang said, 500? That will depend on the things you brought. I definitely won't make a loss. Next, the two sides naturally started a new round of war of words. But for some reason, Han Lingyun did not haggle over every ounce like Yun Tian. Instead, he adopted a strategy of constantly giving in. As long as Chu Yang persisted, he would let it go. This made Chu Yang feel a little strange. I don't seem to have any relationship with you? Do you have to give in to me like this? You're making it difficult for me to lower the price so much. Chu Yang was a person who always returned respect tenfold. If you were good to me, I would be even better to you. Since the other party was deliberately giving in, Chu Yang naturally would not go overboard. In the course of the conversation between the two sides, there was actually a harmonious situation. This made Chu Yang, who had mustered up his fighting spirit, more or less feel like he had punched the air. The whole process was relatively short. At the very most, it was less than the time for an incense stick to burn, and the whole deal was finalized. Han Lingyun's countless heavenly treasures, as well as many rare metals and strange items, all became Chu Yang's. He also exchanged for 420 places from Chu Yang. Both sides quickly finalized the deal without any possibility of going back on their words. Both of them heaved a sigh of relief. Brother Chu, it's the first time we've met. It's difficult for us to talk too much. But I have something to say, but I don't know if it's appropriate. Han Lingyun hesitated for a moment and said, Brother Han, please speak your mind. There's no harm, said Chu Yang. Yes, our underworld sect can't be considered a righteous sect. Although we're ranked second among the super sects, that's only because of our sect's power. As for our reputation, we've long been labeled as an evil sect. This is something everyone knows. I've never tried to hide it, nor do I care to. But although we're evil, we also have our own principles and principles. There was pride on Han Lingyun's face. For so many years, our underworld sect has gone to the purple cloud heavens. And the purple cloud heavens battle with the extraterrestrial demons is the training standard of our underworld sect for so many years. Brother Chu, I saw what happened that day. You're indeed a man, said Han Lingyun with a smile. Chapter 1927. This time, Brother Chu is about to face a calamity. Once Mo Yuntian invades, I believe that no matter how many trump cards Chu Yang has, or what backing he has, the situation will not be optimistic. Han Lingyun raised his head and looked at Chu Yang sincerely. At this moment, I only want to give Brother Chu a word of advice. If you really have no other way out, then you can come and find me. Or we don't dare to help you or accept you openly, but secretly helping you once or twice should not be a problem. As long as it is within the capabilities of the underworld sect, we will do our best to support you. This is my promise. Chu Yang never expected that the other party would say such words. He could not help but ask, why? Brother Han's promise is really beyond my expectations. Han Lingyun laughed softly. Our underworld sect has never thought of ourselves as good people, and we can't be bothered with how the world looks at us. We only have one thing in mind, and that is to respect heroes. Back then, the heavenly emperor of purple clouds Zihao was like that. Brother Chu, you are also like that. To be able to kill young master Mo Yuntian for your own woman, although the action is somewhat stupid, but in our eyes, it is indeed what a man should do. A man should do this. This is the reason why I promised Brother Chu. Isn't it a little ridiculous, or is it simply unbelievable? Brother Chu, goodbye. Han Lingyun laughed and stood up. I'm just waiting to get my people. That skeleton elf Jiao Changtian also stood up and smiled kindly at Chu Yang. He turned and followed Han Lingyun out of the door. So, the reason why Elder Meng Xiaoran did not enter and used his own cultivation to isolate all movements from the outside world was actually because of this. Chu Yang was really overwhelmed with emotions. So, he was not the only one who fought against the heavenly demon in this world. In this world, there were still people with intentions. Chu Yang took a deep breath and suppressed his boiling emotions. Then he insipidly said, "Next." Back and forth, they were busy until the middle of the night. Finally, Chu Yang succeeded in diverting more than 5,000 children to different locations. Now, Chu Yang did not dare to leave anyone behind. How terrifying was the power of Mo Yuntian's entire royal family. How terrifying was that, if he left them behind? Chu Yang thought. He shuddered. Luckily, he was already prepared. I only hope that all of you will be able to stand out in your respective sects and strive to become stronger. At the very least, he should be able to live a long life. Chu Yang silently said, "If I'm not lucky enough to escape this time, this may be the last thing I can do for you." In the wee hours of the morning, the various sects and clans arrived one after another to pick up people from the Chu clan. Outside Purple Cloud City, Yun Tian's flying boat was already waiting. Return immediately. But after receiving the order, Yun Tian immediately flew over to look for Chu Yang. He said angrily, "Brother Chu, isn't this wrong?" He received a call. Indeed, he was very satisfied with every one of them. But in the end there were 8 less. What's wrong? Chu Yang was in a bad mood, so his tone was naturally even worse. I've only received 1,248. And we agreed. It's clearly 1,250. Yun Tian's handsome face flushed red. Yes, there are 1,248 people. This is correct. Chu Yang said strangely, aren't there still 8 treasures that Brother Yun wants? 8 treasures that I want? Yun Tian muttered. Suddenly, blood rushed to his head. You're talking about those 8 white jade screens? He suddenly remembered that there were indeed 8 children who went up with the screens. Of course. Chu Yang said with a smile, Brother Yun has always emphasized that the 8 treasures that day were also there. How would I dare to go against it? Yun Tian felt like he was seeing stars. He almost vomited blood. I've been tricked. I used so many rare natural treasures and magical items in this world, and I only exchanged them for 8 white jade screens of inferior quality? Chu Yang. Yun Tian wanted to vomit blood. This is what you asked for. Chu Yang looked at him coldly. What's wrong with tricking you? Yun Tian gritted his teeth and looked at Chu Yang fiercely for a while. Finally, he turned around and left. Yes, he had been led astray by Chu Yang from the start. He kept saying treasures and not people. Especially when he was in the study room, it was already like this. It was absolutely impossible to turn the situation around now. Because all the talents had already been divided. Even more so, Yun Tian also knew that based on that misunderstanding, he would definitely not be able to get back at Chu Yang. He was definitely going to eat this loss. Furthermore, he was going to eat it firmly. As for the other super sects, as long as they had flying boats, they all used flying boats to come. Most of them were currently on the way. Those without flying boats could only beg the sects that were closer to them to use flying boats to help send them back. Their own sects definitely had to send experts to accompany them, lest they were swallowed by others just like that. That side naturally also had to have a large number of support. It was hard to separate. Finally sending the children away, Chu Yang only felt that his heart was empty. He felt somewhat exhausted. He stayed in the study room quietly and did not go out for a long time. Most of his worries were sent away just like that. Heavenly Emperor Mo Yun had come. He could finally fight with all his might. What should the next step be? Chu Yang frowned. He wanted to think of a countermeasure, but he felt that his mind was in a mess. He had no clue at all. Tai Budian and Wu Qianqian walked in quietly. Standing behind him, they used their hands to gently rub his temples. Next, it might be the most dangerous period of our lives. It will also be the most brutal battle. Chu Yang closed his eyes and said softly, "The children have already been sent away. Their safety can be guaranteed at least for a short period of time. Next, it's you guys. I'm thinking." Tai Budian said softly, "No matter what, we'll accompany you." Chu Yang, speaking of which, we don't have to take it to heart too much. If we really can't win, everyone will die together. At most, that's it. Besides, although the other party is a heavenly emperor, he might not come out in full force. We definitely still have a chance. Wu Qianqian said, "That's right. We'll just deal with it as we see it. Why put ourselves in a position where we'll definitely lose and die right from the start?" Chu Yang pondered. Suddenly he smiled. He said, "Not bad, not bad. That's it. I was too narrow-minded." Then he closed his eyes and muttered, "Now. It's also time to completely detonate the soul-suppressing stone incident." The two women glanced at each other, and they both felt a little shocked in their hearts. It turned out that the soul-suppressing stone incident that had been spreading like wildfire during this period of time was also caused by Chu Yang. Chu Yang stood up and laughed. "Before that, there's still one more thing to settle. Now that I have enough purple cloud coins, I have to go and buy a mansion from the city lord." The city lord's condition just happened to be left with one last treatment. Only after this time, the city lord would completely recover. He would officially regain the vigor of a strong man, but during this period of time, as Chu Yang's status rose faster and faster day by day, the city lord was a little fearful. From the beginning, he was confident and at ease. Now, he was a little timid. This made Chu Yang very speechless. This was the last time. He might as well visit him personally. He would first settle the matter of the Purple Cloud Palace before anything else. After all, it was a big matter related to the unsealing of the Purple Cloud Tower. He couldn't be careless. The unsealing of the Purple Cloud Tower might be to resolve the endless haze in front of him. Chu Yang did as he said. He got up and left. Just when Chu Yang was having an inexplicable headache, in the distant East Royal Heavens, East Royal Palace, the Prime Minister bent his back and was carefully reading the document. Suddenly, a white light flashed on a jade pendant in the East Royal Palace. The Prime Minister was shocked. What's going on? Suddenly, the Divine Palace sent a letter? He hurriedly opened it and saw a line of words quickly appearing on it. 3 days later, the saint will come to the East Royal Heavens to discuss important matters with His Majesty. At the same time, 3 days later? Why is it so hasty? Oh my God. The Prime Minister only saw the first few words and jumped up. Why is it so urgent? In the past, the notice would be at least half a month in advance. This time, it's directly 3 days later? Is it fatal? Then, he hurriedly read the whole message carefully and rushed out. Quickly inform His Majesty that the saint is coming to the East Royal Heavens. Tens of thousands of miles away. Xue Leihan looked at this sudden news and couldn't help but frown. What's going on? Why does the saint have to come at this time? Could there be any special reason for this? If the saint were to come, no matter how unwilling Xue Leihan was, he had to meet him personally. This was related to a problem of face and attitude. Xue Leihan didn't get along well with the saint's extreme heaven. Now that the saint came to visit him personally, if Xue Leihan wasn't there to receive him, the consequences would be very serious. Moreover, some rumors and slanders would also have a considerable impact. Xue Leihan sighed deeply. Since that's the case, I'll go back and see what tricks he's up to. Just as Xue Leihan was about to leave, he suddenly remembered. Moyun Heaven's Yuan Heaven's limit may come at any time. If I leave at this time, what will Chuyang do? He couldn't help but frown. Why did the saint suddenly come to the East Royal Heavens at this delicate moment? And in such a hasty manner? Is it really a coincidence? Xue Leihan pondered. There was no way to calculate information about the saint in the land of heavenly secrets. Even putting aside the cultivation level, as the number one person in the Heaven Imperial Court, the saint was naturally protected by the heavenly axiom. All the information about the saint couldn't be calculated using any method, form, or method. As long as one calculated the saint, regardless of whether they succeeded or not, they would definitely be punished by the heavens. Therefore, Xue Leihan couldn't do anything about it. He had no choice but to welcome the saint's arrival. However, once he left, Chuyang would definitely be in great danger and it would be difficult for him to survive. This matter was truly a dilemma. For Chuyang, leaving on his own would be like pulling the firewood from under the cauldron, and it would be a disaster for him. Chapter 1928. P.S. There's something I have to apologize for. Regarding the second sect, it should be the Earth's Heart Pavilion. But I've gotten used to writing about Hell's Gate these few days. I forgot that Hell's Gate should be a stranger. Sorry. Now that the editor is off work, I can't edit it. I'll immediately edit it tomorrow, please understand. Thank you. Also, thank you to those readers who saw the mistake and really read the book seriously. I hope that when I make another mistake in the future, everyone will remind me again. Thank you again. It's already the 4th chapter, I'll continue to write the 5th chapter. Xue Leihan sighed softly. In a flash, he appeared in the sky above Purple Cloud City, at General Lan's camp. Lord East Sovereign's sudden appearance shocked General Lan and all the generals in the tent. After everyone paid their respects, Xue Leihan dismissed all the generals, leaving only General Lan alone. I have urgent matters to attend to and need to return to the palace immediately. Xue Leihan said softly, you have to watch over this place. General Lan was stunned. Only then did he know that His Majesty had been here all this time. Luckily, he didn't act rashly. Your Majesty, if Mo Yuntang comes, what should we do? General Lan asked. Xue Leihan said lightly, you only have to remember one thing, this is the Eastern Royal Heaven. General Lan took a deep breath. He already understood His Majesty's meaning. If Heavenly Emperor Mo Yun comes personally, what should I do? General Lan asked again. After all, Mo Yuntian coming was different from Heavenly Emperor Mo Yun coming personally, so the treatment would naturally be different. This is the Eastern Royal Heaven. Xue Leihan's voice was still light. This answer was obviously no different from before. But the domineering aura contained in it made General Lan's heart skip a beat. If Yuan Tianji doesn't come, you can act according to the situation. If Yuan Tianji doesn't come back in time, you can act according to your own discretion. Xue Leihan's eyes flashed coldly. Acting according to the situation and acting according to your own discretion were two completely different concepts. This point, without a doubt, Great General Lan understood. But even if it is, don't go overboard. Yes. Xue Leihan frowned. After a long time he said, as long as it's possible, I'll rush back as soon as possible. Great General Lan made a sound of acknowledgement, but his heart was surging with monstrous waves that did not cease for a long time. His Majesty Donghuang actually wanted to participate in this dispute? Didn't this indicate that there was a high chance that they wouldn't be able to withstand it? In other words, a large-scale war was about to erupt between the Moyun Sky Immortal Realms and the Eastern Royal Immortal Realms. Throughout history, as long as the two celestial emperors truly faced each other, that was the war between the two worlds. Such a battle. In the history of the heavens, this had only happened once. That time, the two great worlds fought until even the sky turned red. Could it be? His Majesty Donghuang was really determined to start a war? But why? General Lan was confused. It seemed that His Majesty East Sovereign and Celestial Emperor Inkcloud didn't have any deep hatred. But that time, it seemed that he had joined forces with the Purple Firmament Heavenly Emperor, Zi Hao, to beat up Yuan Tianji, and they did not suffer any losses. Why would they start a war this time? General Lan's doubts were destined not to be answered, at least for the time being, because Xue Leihan had already left. In the blink of an eye, he had already disappeared without a trace. General Lan's heart trembled, and he immediately sent an order. All personnel, cancel all leave and prepare for war. But before Xue Leihan left, he did not mention that he wanted him to help Chu Yang. It was not that Donghuang didn't want to mention it, but that he couldn't. Xue Leihan would also have his own concerns. If he directly instructed General Lan to focus on who was who, the nature of this battle would completely change, and it would be disadvantageous to Chu Yang instead. Or rather, this action would attract the attention of people with intentions. He only knew that General Lan would definitely understand his intentions. In these hundreds of thousands of years, General Lan had never disappointed him. The Eastern Emperor Xue Leihan was undoubtedly a wise man, but even a wise man would make a mistake. Because this time, General Lan just didn't understand. He only knew that His Majesty East Sovereign had made up his mind to start a war with Moyun Sky. This made General Lan, who was already extremely warlike, feel his blood boil completely. He didn't care about Chu Yang at all. Perhaps in General Lan's eyes, although Chu Yang was the target of this incident, and also the target of Moyun Sky's operation, but when it came to identity, the most important identity he had was just Yen Russian's little friend, or at most a brother who had similar interests. That was all. How could he be worthy of too much attention? At least, he was not worthy of his attention, and even more so, not worthy of the Eastern Emperor's attention. But General Lan would never have dreamt that the Eastern Emperor's arrangements today were all because of this small character Chu Yang. If he protected Chu Yang, then the two worlds wouldn't have to go to war. On the other hand, if he couldn't protect Chu Yang, Xue Leihan would definitely declare war on Moyun Sky first. Chu Yang was already Xue Leihan's last hope, and also a great trust that Xue Leihan would never dare to neglect. If Moyun Sky really destroyed this hope, Xue Leihan would definitely not hesitate to fight. He would rather die together with Moyun Sky, and make Moyun Sky pay the heaviest price. But General Lan was ignorant of all this. Xue Leihan left, and at the same time, he took away Chu Yang's greatest reliance. Chu Yang was equally ignorant of all this. But this wasn't a big deal, because Chu Yang had never counted on Xue Leihan to help him. He only knew that he had to use his own strength to get through this crisis. After all, only his own strength was the most solid and reliable reliance. And now, Chu Yang was already in the city lord's residence, trying to get the thing that he had been dreaming of ever since he arrived at the Heavenly Palace. This time, the city lord's reception could be said to be extremely courteous. He had to be courteous, because the current Chu Yang had already become a person that the city lord absolutely couldn't afford to offend. Not to mention anything else, if any of his current high-end subordinates were to casually attack the city lord would not be able to bear the consequences. Divine Dr. Chu. Brother Chu, I'm honored by your presence. Please don't blame me. The city lord came out to welcome him enthusiastically. Yes, today is the last treatment for Big Brother. After this, Big Brother's that thing will be completely stabilized. At least, there won't be a problem for a few decades. If you take good care of it and don't squander it excessively, I believe there won't be a problem for a few hundred years or even. There won't be a problem. Chu Yang laughed. Really? That's great. Big Brother will rely on you for this. The city lord was still somewhat uneasy, but when he saw Chu Yang's amiable demeanor, he felt relieved and poured out his grievances. Brother, you don't know. These few months have been really uncomfortable. I've never seen such a grand scene in my entire life. Now it's right in front of me. I can't afford to offend any of them. The city lord chattered on. Chu Yang listened with a smile, without the slightest hint of impatience. To be honest, he really understood how the city lord felt. The official position of city lord. The desolation and remoteness of Wuxia city meant that the city lord structure wouldn't be too big. In the past, even if he saw a heaven-grade expert, he would think and ponder. He had to ponder and ponder. Recently, he had suddenly seen so many ridiculously high-level experts. They were so high that they completely exceeded his knowledge. Almost all the super sects had gathered in his territory. How could he not be flustered? It would be a lie if he said he wasn't flustered. All right, Brother Chu, do you still remember the Hua clan? The city lord smiled mysteriously. How can I not remember? We have some history between us. A cold light flashed in Chu Yang's eyes. How could he not remember the Hua clan of Jianghu? It was this guy who got the treasure map of the God Source realm, which could be said to be the fuse of this soul-suppressing stone incident. And they had once framed him in every possible way and tried to assassinate him several times. When he had the chance, he would naturally settle the score. However, with his current strength, wouldn't it be too much of a bully if he went to look for their family? What a dilemma! Just a few days ago, there was a fight outside the city. The two sides of the fight were a group of people from the pugilistic world, and they intercepted another group of people. I sent people out to investigate, and it turned out that the Hua clan people were attacked, and they suffered heavy casualties. So, I drove the bandits away and brought them back. But the experts of the Hua clan of Jianghu have all died in this battle, and the few who survived are all injured, the city lord said. Oh. Chu Yang smiled faintly, and didn't say anything. After this battle, the Hua clan of Jianghu is already dead in name, and all the experts in the clan have been killed, and there is no chance for them to rise again. That fourth Master Hua, who you and I had dealt with before, although he was lucky enough to survive, his hands and feet were chopped off. The city lord said lightly, I heard that he had sent people to assassinate you, so I detained him. Now, as long as you say the word, everyone in the Hua clan will be beheaded in an instant, and no one will be left alive. Chu Yang closed his eyes and was silent for a while. Suddenly, he smiled and shook his head lightly. Big Brother, if I am in my current position, I still have to make things difficult for Fourth Master Hua. Isn't that a little demeaning? The city lord smiled. Brother Chu's words have touched my heart. Indeed, at Chu Yang's current level, if he still insisted on making things difficult for a small character like Fourth Master Hua, it would really make others think that he was too narrow-minded and didn't see the bigger picture. In the end, what was Fourth Master Hua? Even the entire Hua clan, what was it? The Hua clan of Jianghu had been developing for thousands of years, but it was still just a small clan. But Chu Yang's hard work in less than half a year had already shaken the entire Heaven Imperial Court. The power he possessed was enough to destroy any large sect other than the super sects. Between the two, there was no comparison at all. Even finding trouble with the Hua clan was an action that lowered one's own status. If the Hua clan hadn't been so unlucky, it would still be reasonable for Chu Yang to find trouble with them. But now that they had fallen to the extreme, what was the point of stepping on them again? Now, let's treat Big Brother's injuries first. Chu Yang began to prepare those things. As for those people from the Hua clan, let them fend for themselves. The city lord nodded. Brother, you are magnanimous. You are right. Chapter 1929. The city lord laughed and said, "Brother, you are talking like an outsider. No matter how useless I am still the city lord. As long as it's something in Wuxia city, I can still make the decision. Do you think this matter is easy or not?" Chu Yang mixed the herbs and said indifferently, "Then I am counting on you. To tell you the truth, I plan to do it in one step. If I want to do it, I want the best. I want that Wuxia King's mansion. Big brother, do you think it is convenient?" Wuxia King's mansion? The city lord paced and said in a low voice, "Brother, if you want other places, I can give it to you directly. But this Wuxia King's mansion is not ordinary. Although I can make the decision, brother, I am afraid you will have to pay more or less." Chu Yang was overjoyed in his heart. But he still maintained an indifferent attitude on the surface. He said, "Big brother, you're so straightforward. I'm indebted to you. Just tell me the price. I'll do my best. I won't make things difficult for you." This Wuxia King's mansion can be considered the most valuable mansion in our territory. A few thousand years ago, someone once bought this Wuxia King's mansion. However, that person did not end up well. And at that time, the price was already 1 million Wuxia coins. This is something that everyone knows. "Big brother, I can't do anything about it." The city lord took a breath and said, "So, brother, you have to increase the price. It can't be 1 million a few thousand years ago, and 1 million now, right? This needs to be reported to the higher-ups. It is not something you can make the decision on your own." Chu Yang straightforwardly said, "This little brother has already expected this. I'll say the same thing again. You name your price. For the sake of your golden face, this little brother will definitely not bargain. The price will be quite high. I really can't say it." The city lord frowned and said, "I am afraid you can't bear it. It will hurt our relationship as brothers." "It's okay. I am very rich now." Chu Yang acted like he was rich. In fact, when he heard the city lord say, "I can buy it, but I have to pay more or less," he had already made up his mind. "Brother, as your big brother, it's really hard for me to ask for such a price. Why would it be at least 20 million? The city lord's voice was as heavy as lead. "Purple cloud coins. Brother, this is a sky-high number. As far as I know, in the entire Heaven Imperial Court, there are no more than 20 million? Only 20 million. I'll buy it." Chu Yang immediately decided. Only 20 million? Chu Yang finally couldn't keep his cool anymore. It was too cheap. It was as cheap as a cabbage. The city lord was still planning to persuade, comfort, and pacify her. As soon as he heard this, all the follow-up words were swallowed back. He looked at Chu Yang with a dumbfounded expression. After a long while, he quivered. You bought it?" "Yeah, isn't it just 20 million? Chu Yang looked at him with some surprise. "How much money is this?" "You can get the formalities ready later. I will pay you all at once. From now on, the Purple Cloud Mansion will belong to me, Chu Yang." "How much is this?" "One by one, all at once." The city lord's mouth was now opened even wider than a hippopotamus. "Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you really sure?" "Of course. Such a small matter. Can't I make the decision?" "Big brother, you underestimate me too much." Chu Yang nodded hard. The city lord felt that he was going to faint. His body swayed and he managed to stand firm. For a moment he felt confused. 20 million purple cloud coins. That was purple cloud coins. "Wait," the city lord finally confirmed with a trembling voice. He asked carefully, "Brother Chu, I said purple cloud coins just now. 20 million purple cloud coins." "That's right, I'm talking about purple cloud coins. I didn't say water cloud coins, nor purple cloud coins." Chu Yang looked at the city lord in surprise. "It's purple cloud coins. Isn't it just 20 million purple cloud coins?" "Absolutely no problem. I originally estimated that it would cost 30 to 50 million, 70 to 80 million. I didn't expect it to only be 20 million. Big brother, I will remember your kindness." The city lord covered his forehead, took a few steps back and sat on a chair, gasping for breath. He felt as if millions of mythical beasts were roaring in his mind, circling back and forth. 20 million purple cloud coins, what kind of concept was that? The city lord's mind was in a mess. He couldn't calculate at all. He only felt that his breathing was rapid, and his heart was beating violently. 20 million. If the city lord knew that the money that Chu Yang had prepared to use to purchase the Purple Cloud Mansion was 200 million purple cloud coins instead of 20 million purple cloud coins, he would have fainted on the spot. It was even possible that he would have died. To be honest, 20 million was really not a lot to Chu Yang. It was really a drop in price. At this moment, not only was the city lord's mind in a mess, even Chu Yang's mind was in a mess. Only 20 million. Why was it only 20 million? This was definitely Chu Yang's heartfelt words. In order to buy this house, the old man had prepared a total of 200 million. Now, he actually bought it for a mere 20 million? I'm not dreaming, am I? If I knew that I could get it with 20 million, would I have gone through so much trouble to hold the auction? Was there a need to sell all those good things? This is really fucking depressing. Both of them were obviously a little out of it. They were temporarily in a trance. It wasn't until a maid came to refill the tea for the nth time, and drank until the tea had lost all its color, that they finally came back to their senses. Little brother, you're really rich. The city lord sighed. I think so too. It's really cheap. Chu Yang grinned and continued to prepare the medicine. The trance just now made him stop preparing the medicine. Let's get down to business quickly. That was the city lord's lifelong happiness. When Chu Yang walked out of the city lord's mansion, there was one more thing in his pocket. The title deed of the Purple Cloud Mansion. He finally got it. From today onwards, Chu Yang was the owner of the Purple Cloud Mansion. Chu Yang took a deep breath. He had been in the heavenly imperial court for so long. This was the only good news that could make him really happy. It was also something that could be used by the Calamity Sword, the Great Elixir, and the Purple Cloud Tower. He wondered if from today onwards, all the misfortune would be gone from him. Ever since Chu Yang had lived 2 lives, his journey had been really smooth. Looking back, he had forged heavenly weapons, gathered tribulations, supported Tain, overturned Zhaojiang, annihilated the heavenly demon, defeated the Dharma Supreme, Jing Zhong, and created a legend. Such achievements could be said to be the first in the history of the heavenly imperial court. But once he ascended and came to the higher plane of the heavenly imperial court, he was full of ambition, but he was met with one disaster after another. He died a few times and even died a few times. It was really unbearable to look back on the past. Until today, at this moment, Chu Yang could finally feel that the haze in his heart was finally going to disappear completely. He was really excited. It was as if he didn't even care about the impending great crisis of Mo Yuntian. Chu Yang didn't even go home. He went straight to the Purple Cloud Mansion. He flashed his identity card and the title deed to prove his ownership. Then he dismissed all the guards in the Zixia Palace. You can go back to where you belong. Anyway, you can't stay here any longer. After making sure that everyone had left, Chu Yang coughed deliberately and walked in like a little fool. Pa, I'm coming. Inside the Purple Cloud Mansion, it was a scene of decay. Countless flowers and trees had already withered, but there were also countless new weeds growing and sprouting. Chu Yang looked carefully and slowly felt that something was wrong, because there were some trees that could grow up to thousands of years old. They had obviously lived long enough here and died. But there were many such trees around. They all died of natural causes. But how could the spiritual energy of the same piece of land support so many trees squeezed together and all of them died of old age after they grew up? This was impossible. But this impossible thing had happened now. Doubts arose in Chu Yang's heart. But he didn't have time to think about it. He kept walking forward. In front of him, he saw a door with the words, "Forbidden Area," written on it. The 2 words "forbidden area" were not rare. As long as it was a big family, they would usually have their own forbidden area. And the concept of forbidden area was not the same. However, the 2 words "forbidden area" in front of Chu Yang's eyes gave Chu Yang a heartfelt killing intent. It was an awe-inspiring killing intent that prevented anyone from entering. But as the owner of this place, Chu Yang couldn't be stopped by his own forbidden area, could he? He had never heard of a forbidden area that didn't allow the owner to enter. Taking a step back, Chu Yang's original intention of buying this place was to explore the secrets of this place. The more forbidden and secretive it was, the more necessary it was to explore. Almost without thinking, and with his identity as the owner, Chu Yang went forward and pushed the door. But he found that he couldn't move it at all. Even with Chu Yang's current strength and saint-level cultivation, he still couldn't move it. The next moment, Chu Yang suddenly flew backward. He fell straight for more than 100 feet and landed on the ground. His whole body was in pain. In fact, during this process, Chu Yang had thought of using his spiritual energy to resist, or to let himself fall steadily and safely. But he discovered that he couldn't mobilize the spiritual energy in his body at all. So, he could only let himself fall freely and fall awkwardly here. What the fuck is going on here? Is my bad luck still not over? It seems that I've been thrown out like this for the third time. Isn't this too bad? Chu Yang lay on the ground and stared blankly at the door. He was confused. Fortunately, as soon as he landed on the ground, his spiritual power had already begun to circulate. After adjusting his breathing a little, the pain disappeared, and he didn't even suffer any physical injuries. He slowly got up and carefully walked to the door again. He stared at the two words, "forbidden area," for a long time. Finally, Chu Yang found a very important thing. Chapter 1930. This door, it was very likely that it had existed since the beginning of time. Although it looked like it had been tempered by wind and frost and looked old, if one looked closely, it was not difficult to notice that the door itself was actually this color. Moreover, there were no traces of decay. In other words, this door had not been eroded by the passage of time in the hundreds of thousands or even millions of years that Wuxia Palace had been here. This was simply incomprehensible. It was beyond common sense. It was completely inconceivable. As for the two words on the door, "forbidden area," if one tried to sense it carefully, they would find that the word "earth" didn't have the slightest bit of power. However, as long as one got close to the word "forbidden," one would be able to clearly feel an unparalleled energy that was as vast as the universe. The two words on the same door had no abnormality at all, but the other had an abnormality that was enough to scare people to death. This was really strange. Forbidden area. Chu Yang thought. Judging from the current situation, there is a high chance that this Wuxia Palace used to have people living here is just a rumor. I am now at the peak of the saint level, but I was still sent flying without any resistance. I couldn't even circulate my martial arts and land safely. Then, to resist this kind of power, one must at least be at the peak of the celestial being level, or even at the level of a saint. In such a remote place, how could there be a saint? And even buy a house here to settle down? This is ridiculous. The doubts in Chu Yang's mind grew bigger and bigger. Almost subconsciously, his fingers touched the door. Boom. Chu Yang, who was in a state of half-thinking and half-stupor, was sent flying again by the counterforce. This time, it was even worse than the last time. He flew a distance of hundreds of feet and directly landed outside the gate of Wuxia Palace. This was an abbreviated version of a flying man performance. It caused a burst of laughter from the passers-by. This bastard must have sneaked into Wuxia Palace to look for benefits. Haha, I don't know how many people have been sent flying over these years. This guy is still trying. He is probably a new person who just ascended. Yes, he is simply courting death. Don't care about him. Let's go. When the city guards come, they will take him away. Chu Yang heard the discussions of the passers-by and muttered, "The rebounding force of this door is quite unique. It's not determined by the strength of the person pushing the door. Instead, it's determined by the number of times the person comes into contact with the door. The more you do it, the greater the counter. This design is really weird." He got up. After circulating his cultivation for a while, he finally managed to alleviate the pain. As the rebound force increased, the degree of his fall naturally increased as well, even though it wasn't a serious injury. His 5 viscera had also suffered some shocks. Chu Yang adjusted his body's condition and walked in again. He slowly approached the door again. Finally, there was nothing strange when he approached it. It seems that as long as you don't take the initiative to provoke it, the door will not retaliate. Motherfucker, I've been through a lot. Would I be stumped by a door? The old man had spent a lot of money, and it was a lot of money. What if he couldn't even enter the Dao Gate? That would be a huge joke. Chu Yang muttered to himself. Although Chu Yang sounded tough, he really didn't dare to touch the door again. The second time he touched it, it was a few hundred feet. The third time might be more than 1,000 feet. If he really flew out again, it would be embarrassing. He didn't know what kind of state he would be in after falling. At the very least, he would inevitably suffer internal injuries. So, it was better not to try it again. Chu Yang looked at the wall that wasn't very high. His mind raced. Since he couldn't enter from the front door, he would try jumping over from above. This was his home anyway. There was no need to worry about trespassing. He would do it. Minister Chu took a deep breath and flew up. Chu Yang's lightness skill was quite good. In addition to his speed, his posture was even more elegant. It was pleasing to the eye and refreshing to the mind. However, in the next moment, when it seemed like he couldn't even see what was inside, boom! Chu Yang's body flew out horizontally again. This time, he crashed into some trees along the way. He flew straight for a few hundred feet like a kite with a broken string. Finally, he landed in front of the Chu clan's gate with a bang. A certain king of hell was sprawled on the ground, blood flowing from the corner of his mouth. It was obvious that he really suffered internal injuries. The few guards at the gate thought that it was an attack. They pulled out their swords and shouted. When they saw that it was their manor lord who was sprawled on the ground like a dead dog, they couldn't help but look at each other. What's going on? Could it be that a strong enemy is attacking? The 2 guards subconsciously opened their throats and shouted, "Enemy attack!" With a boom, the entire Chu clan's gate was boiling. Countless figures flew here and there. Even Tai Butian and Wu Qianqian were among them. The Chu clan's gate was now in a state of panic. Every bush and tree was an enemy. They were on high alert at all times. How could everyone not be alarmed at the sound of an enemy attack? Especially those who had just joined Mo Yuntian. Although they had joined Chu Yang and wanted to use Chu Yang as a shield, they knew that although their idea was good, it was very difficult to actually execute it. As long as Mo Yuntian really came, how could there be so much to say? Even though they didn't show it on their faces, their hearts were filled with fear. Everyone subconsciously believed that death had arrived, and that the Yellow Springs was within their reach. The blood and vigor that had been stirred up by Chu Yang suddenly dissipated without a trace. Some of them were even thinking about how to escape in their hearts. At this moment, Chu Yang's muscles and bones were all broken. It seemed like he couldn't even move a finger. The blood in his body was surging and his internal organs were burning. He could only lie on the ground for the time being and let everyone watch. He couldn't help but feel depressed. Damn it, this time I've really embarrassed myself. Damn it, my room refused to let me in and I was even thrown in front of the door of another room. Is there still justice in this? Seeing this, Tai Butian screamed and flew to Chu Yang. Chu Yang, what's wrong with you? What's going on? Everyone also gathered around and bent down to look at Chu Yang, who was prostrating on the ground. They all opened their mouths and asked all kinds of questions. Although Chu Yang's cultivation wasn't ranked high in the Heaven Imperial Court, his face was definitely one of the thickest in the Heaven Imperial Court. It wasn't impossible for him to be in the top 3. But now, he felt that his face was burning. He coughed awkwardly and covered his face. It's okay, it's really okay. I was careless. Isn't it because my cultivation has improved and I can fly again? I was flying just now and suddenly thought of something. I was stunned for a moment and fell. Because it was the first time I flew, the accident happened and I didn't have time to use my energy to protect myself. I've fallen to my death. Everyone was collectively petrified. The so-called enemy attack was actually this. This was also possible? Haha. No one knew who was the first to laugh out loud. As a result, The crowd burst into crazy laughter. No one had ever dreamt that Villa Master Chu would be such a good person. It's fine if you're thinking about something when you're flying, but you're actually so engrossed in your thoughts that you're even stunned for a moment? And you even fell and forgot to use your energy to protect yourself? This is too amazing. So amazing that everyone was collectively speechless. Of course, while they were speechless, they also felt a burst of uncontrollable laughter. Damn it, at such an old age, this was the first time they saw someone fall from the sky in such a way. It was really an eye-opener. Wu Qianqian and Tai Butian didn't know whether to laugh or cry. They helped Chu Yang up from the ground and went back to the bedroom with black lines on their faces. Along the way, there were still uncontrollable laughter that didn't stop for a long time. It was really too funny. Even the two women were no exception. As they laughed, they couldn't wait to hang Chu Yang up and give him a good beating. How could you do such a shameful thing? You're really Chu Yang, the legendary Tribulation Sword Master? Could it be more embarrassing? Energy. Chu Yang pretended to be unconscious. I really didn't expect that someone as thick-skinned as this guy would be so embarrassed one day. The cycle of karma. Tai Butian was very emotional. Wu Qianqian laughed so hard that she was rocking back and forth. She echoed, "The heavenly way is fair indeed." Although the fall wasn't light and there were even internal injuries, as long as he could use his energy, he would recover very quickly. Chu Yang didn't pretend to be unconscious for long. He already felt that he had recovered, but he still closed his eyes and refused to wake up. When Tai Butian and Wu Qianqian turned around to prepare the soup, Chu Yang got up and quickly slipped away. He only used his finger to carve a few words on the table. "I'm going out." Immediately, he fled in a panic like a fish that had escaped the net. Once again, Chu Yang returned to this strange door. He didn't dare to approach it again. Instead, he frowned and pondered. What should I do to get in? This is so troublesome. Should I try using the tribulation space? The result was that Chu Yang suffered a backlash again. Even the sword spirit was dizzy and almost fainted. "Big brother, what's the situation? What's going on? Are we going to pass?" Chu Yang grinned. "Stop nagging. See for yourself." The sword spirit took a look. "It's Wuxia royal residence." "Of course it's this lousy residence." Chu Yang showed the title deed with a helpless expression. "It's mine now, but this damn door is blocking me. I can't get in. It's already tormented me several times, so you want to use the tribulation space to store the entire residence?" The sword spirit looked at Chu Yang as if he was looking at a weirdo. "Sword master, this Wuxia royal residence occupies more than 1,000 acres of land. You actually want to store it in the tribulation space? Your imagination seems to be too rich, too earth-shattering. Why didn't I realize it before? You're simply too amazing." Chapter 1931. Chu Yang's face turned red. He said angrily, "I was just thinking about it. Can I do that?" "Of course you can think about it. But the problem is that you didn't just think about it. You even put it into action." Sword Spirit was speechless. The biggest and most innocent victim of this experiment was Sword Spirit. "This is from P. Stop talking nonsense. How do you know it won't work if you don't do it? Now that it's confirmed that it won't work, I'll try another method." Chu Yang was really miserable at this time. He had started to argue irrationally. I think you should take out all the things in our space one by one to test." He wanted to see what it was that had the strongest reaction. Since there was such a reaction, it means that it's absolutely not an illusion. Or the key to open this door has already been in our space. Sword Spirit suggested. Chu Yang's eyes lit up. Yes, why didn't I think of such a reliable method? It seemed that Chu Yang was really confused. He could even laugh at himself. Speaking of the most reliable first test subject, Chu Yang thought of the Great Elixir. This kind of great elixir could absorb the spiritual energy of the heaven and earth. It had endless wonderful uses. Perhaps, the idea was very beautiful, but the reality was very cruel. After taking out the great elixir, Chu Yang was extremely excited. Although the surrounding spiritual energy had increased by at least 100 times in an instant, but it didn't have any effect on the main body of Wuxia King's mansion. Instead, the great elixir spontaneously tried to break free from Chu Yang's restraint. It seemed that it wanted to enter Wuxia King's mansion. Chu Yang was shocked by this sudden change. He hurriedly put it away. What if he couldn't open the door? If he threw the great elixir inside, wouldn't he cry to death? Then he would be really miserable. The second time, he used purple crystal Saint Crystal and purple crystal Divine Crystal as an experiment. As soon as the purple crystal Holy Crystal appeared, it shone with purple light. The reaction seemed to be much stronger than the great elixir. It broke free from Chu Yang's palm and rose up. Then there was a whooshing sound. It flew into Wuxia King's mansion just like that. There was a crack sound from inside. Then there was a pop sound. It seemed that it had landed on something and was fixed. Chu Yang looked at his empty palm. His eyebrows twitched crazily. It was gone? A Saint Crystal gone just like that? He only had 10 pills in total. Distressed, I seem to understand, Lord Sword Master. The Sword Spirit said happily, it seems that these Saint Crystals and Divine Crystals are very likely to be the keys to open the door to Wuxia King's mansion. They had a special attraction to each other. Did you hear that just now? First, there was a cracking sound. It was clear that he had fallen into a specific passage. Then there was the sound of a slap. Can it? Chiang thought for a while. He felt that this sentence was not unreasonable. Hesitantly, he said, You mean, the current situation is very clear. Saint Crystals are definitely useful. The Sword Spirit nodded affirmatively. All right, I'll give it a try. Chu Yang could only give it a try. Right now, this Wuxia King's mansion was their most important life-saving straw. It was better to have it but not use it. Might as well give it a try. Yang Kai took out another Saint Crystal. He flew away. And then another one. In the blink of an eye, all 10 Saint Crystals had been given out. Chu Yang took it out. And his heart was bleeding. If this really worked, it would be fine. If it didn't, these Saint Crystals and Divine Crystals wouldn't be able to be retrieved. And he couldn't go in. Then, even if it was just angina, it would probably hurt him to death. In the end, all 10 Saint Crystals were gone. Chu Yang was a little hesitant. Should he send the Divine Crystals in too? Would it be a meat bun hitting a dog? That Divine Crystal, should I send it in too? Chu Yang was really reluctant. Of course, at this point, there's no turning back. The Sword Spirit said unquestionably. All right. Chu Yang helplessly took out the Divine Crystals. He originally wanted to take a look at them, but he felt his palm shake. The Divine Crystals flew out of his hand. They almost pierced through Chu Yang's bones. It's not like I'm not letting you go. Why are you in such a hurry? Will it kill you to let me take a few more looks? Minister Chu scolded. He didn't care whether the Divine Crystals could understand him or not. At this time, a certain king of hell was a little hysterical. He was showing symptoms of mental disorder. In layman's terms, he seemed to be crazy. There seemed to be another sound this time. Then, clap, 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 clap. The Sword Spirit explained as if he had a card up his sleeve. This is the integration of the Saint Crystals and the Divine Crystals. Then, each of them is looking for a suitable position. When all these sounds stop, the door will probably open. Don't worry, it's fine. Chu Yang was also shocked. He said, I know. Do I need you to tell me such a simple truth? The Sword Spirit saw that Chu Yang was stubborn, but didn't expose him. He was secretly happy in his heart. The two of them quietly waited outside. After a long time, the clapping sounds finally disappeared. However, the door didn't open. The Sword Spirit's complexion also changed. Did we really throw it away for nothing? Chu Yang looked at the door in front of him with a strange expression. Sword Spirit, didn't you say that it should open? The Sword Spirit coughed and lowered his head in guilt. I'll try to see if I can go in now. Maybe. Chu Yang walked forward with a kind of heroic and tragic feeling. He pushed with all his strength. Boom. Ah! Chu Yang flew out in a flurry. His momentum was so fast that he looked like a shooting star in the sky. In just a moment, he had already flown to an unknown place. The sword spirit was shocked. He chased after him with all his strength. The sword spirit had reached the peak of the heavenly human level. His strength was far above Chu Yang's. However, he couldn't catch up with him with all his strength. He chased after him for 20 miles. Only then did he find that Chu Yang had fallen into a small forest. His whole body was blue and purple. His entire body was lying on his back, forming a perfect character. His entire body seemed to be able to move, and he was blinking his eyes. He looked at the sword spirit who was rushing over. "How is it? Are you okay?" The sword spirit asked nervously. "How is it? What do you think I can do?" Chu Yang gritted his teeth and said angrily, "Now, every bone in my body seems to have fallen apart. What do you think? Every piece of flesh has been broken into 7 or 8 pieces. What do you think? Why don't you try?" The sword spirit laughed awkwardly. He hurriedly helped Chu Yang take a heavy pill. Chu Yang sat up and groaned. After a long time, he was finally able to summon his energy again to catalyze the effects of the heavy pill and recover his body. After a while, the effects of the heavy pill were fully activated. His body had recovered. The first thing Chu Yang did after his body recovered was to grab the sword spirit. "Didn't you say that the holy crystals and divine crystals are the key? Didn't you say that I'm okay? Look at what happened now. 10 holy crystals and 1 divine crystal have all been fed into a bottomless pit. What should I do? What do you think I should do? Tell me what to do. Tell me." The sword spirit explained in a panic. "Don't be impulsive. Don't be impulsive. Being impulsive won't solve anything at this time." You thought? You thought? You still thought? Minister Chu flew into a rage. "You still think that you are a saint? Are you? You still think that you should be a saint? Are you? You still thought that you—" Ouch, my holy crystals and divine crystals. My heart hurts so much. The sword spirit said awkwardly, I'll compensate you. My whole body has long belonged to you. Tell me how you want me to compensate you." Why don't we go back and try other methods?" Chu Yang got up and said angrily with a red face, "Of course we have to try other methods. Not to mention that there are so many treasures in there. I even spent 20 million purple cloud coins. How can I be satisfied with this ending?" He went back angrily. When he returned to the door again, Chu Yang was a little melancholy. "What should I use? It seems that I've used all the methods that are slightly related. What more reliable methods are there? Oh right, why don't we try using the Purple Cloud Heavenly Emperor's Purple Cloud Tower?" The sword spirit winked and reminded him. "To be honest, I wanted to try using the Purple Cloud Tower first, but there seemed to be someone in my heart stopping me." Chu Yang frowned. That feeling was very strange, but it was very real. "So I didn't use it. What about this time? You couldn't use it just now, but it doesn't mean that you can't use it now, right? Maybe there needs to be a sequence in between? You can try again. You have to try any method now," the sword spirit guessed. Chu Yang nodded. "You're right. Let's try it. Let's see how awesome this Purple Cloud Palace can be. If it really swallows the Purple Cloud Tower, I'll accept it." As he said that, he was about to try to summon the Purple Cloud Tower. But this time, the strangest thing was that the very real and strong intent of stopping him didn't appear. A palm-sized Purple Cloud Tower, shining with endless light, appeared in Chu Yang's hand. Then, a blurry purple light suddenly shot out from the Purple Cloud Tower. It shot toward the door. Or rather, it shot accurately toward the word, "Restrict," on the door. Suddenly, Chu Yang looked at it, dumbfounded. He saw that the word, "restrict," actually melted slowly, as if ice and snow had met the scorching sun. At the moment when the word "restrict" completely disappeared, Chu Yang seemed to hear a desolate sigh. Sigh. The voice was ethereal and illusory, but it also gave people a very real feeling. Chu Yang's hair stood on end. "Who is it?" But the voice ignored him. It just seemed to laugh bitterly and said, "Is there still anything worth worrying about in this celestial imperial court? Forget it, forget it. Since the seal has been broken, everything has nothing to do with me anymore. If you have the heart, please expel all the extraterrestrial demons and rebuild the Purple Cloud Palace. If you don't have the heart, then so be it. Everything here is entrusted to you. Chu Yang heard these few words clearly. It was the voice of the Purple Cloud Heavenly Emperor that he had heard before. Please vote for me. I will continue to write the third chapter. Chapter 1932. So this place actually belonged to the Heavenly Emperor of Purple Cloud. All the doubts in Chu Yang's heart were finally resolved, but there were even more doubts. Why would the Heavenly Emperor of Purple Cloud's things appear here? But before he could think further, he already heard himself shouting, I will definitely destroy the extraterrestrial demons. Rebuild the Purple Cloud. These words were shouted out from the bottom of Chu Yang's heart, as if they carried the boiling hot blood in his heart. That voice seemed to have heard him and said weakly, Thank you. Then a gust of wind blew, and suddenly dark clouds gathered, and heavy rain poured down from the mountains and rivers. A thunderbolt broke through the firmament, splitting the heaven and earth into two. That voice never sounded again. Originally from P, it seemed that the last trace of the Heavenly Emperor of Purple Cloud's consciousness had finally disappeared completely from the world. In the distance, Shui Leihan, who was rushing back to the Emperor Dong's palace with all his might, suddenly stopped and turned back to look. After a long time, a tear slowly flowed out of his eye, and he said softly, Brother Z! Brother Z! Suddenly, he looked up to the sky and roared, his voice sorrowful and fierce. Without looking back, Shui Leihan turned into a white line and disappeared into the horizon. That voice disappeared. The word, restrict, on the door also disappeared. A gap appeared in that door, and the two doors slowly opened to both sides, revealing the true appearance of the Purple Cloud Palace inside. But now, Chu Yang didn't have the impatient thought of going in immediately. His heart was still echoing the words of the Heavenly Emperor of Purple Cloud. If you have the heart, please expel the extraterrestrial demons and rebuild the Purple Cloud. This heroic Heavenly Emperor. In his last moments, he still thought of expel the extraterrestrial demons and rebuild the Purple Cloud. Chu Yang couldn't help but feel the hot blood in his heart rushing up, and couldn't calm down for a long time. I will definitely fulfill your wish and rebuild the Purple Cloud. Chu Yang said to himself word by word, Your last wish. This is my lifelong wish. I will definitely expel the extraterrestrial demons and rebuild the Purple Cloud. I will use the blood of billions of extraterrestrial demons to pay tribute to the souls of the Purple Cloud. Then he raised his head. Towards the door that had already opened, he walked in step by step. Ding ding ding, countless soft sounds rang, and then endless white light flashed in front of Chu Yang. The purple crystals, holy crystals and divine crystals actually rushed back crazily the moment Chu Yang stepped in. Whoosh 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 they fell. In the next moment, a very strange thing appeared in front of Chu Yang. It was a stone with holes all around it. The holy divine crystals and divine crystals. They divine crystals and went into these holes. Chu Yang counted crystals and there were exactly 100 crystals and Crystal Emperor Divine Purple Cloud. What a big piece of nether space soul stone, the sword spirit exclaimed. Crystal? What's that? Chu Yang was startled. It's a kind of stone with magical powers. The biggest use of this kind of stone. It was able to preserve everything, including physical objects. Heart of heart. Furthermore, it can be used as a heart. As long as one cannot open it, they will never be able to enter. The sword spirit said excitedly, I was right when I said that these divine crystals and saint crystals were the key. If we don't install those divine crystals and saint crystals, this mansion will never open. Chu Yang rolled his eyes in exasperation. Don't attack. What I'm concerned about now is, what can it do? I have plenty of space tools. When it comes to storage items, what can be better than the tribulation space? Sword Spirit hesitated for a moment and said, You're right, but I only know that this thing can be used to make space containers, and the kind with a super large capacity. As for other uses, I really don't know. Forget it, it's more or less useful. Chu Yang waved his hand and put this crystal into the tribulation space. Immediately after, he looked around, and what he saw gave him a huge shock. Because it was the same as the outside. There were also piles of dead and piles of living. On a piece of land, if the trees were crowded together and died of old age, there might be a very small possibility. But if the elixirs were crowded together and died of old age, that was a little shocking. Chu Yang saw dozens of blood ginseng growing on top of a pile of powder. The blood ginseng had not taken shape yet, so it naturally did not have any medicinal power. What Chu Yang really paid attention to was the pile of powder. In the end, he came to a rather shocking conclusion. These powders were all blood ginseng powder. Only when the blood ginseng was completely ripe and no one picked it, would it automatically dissipate its spiritual energy and turn into ashes. Such depth and thickness was definitely not something that 1 or 2 blood ginseng could produce. In other words, there were at least hundreds or even thousands of blood ginseng here that had turned into powder. That was why there was so much powder. But why did such a situation happen? Blood ginseng was a medicine that monopolized spiritual energy. How could it grow in piles here? Looking to the left, there was a pile of snow Ganoderma. Then, there were Chinese fleeceflower, 10,000-year vine, 7 aperture grass and so on. This place was like a natural mixed medicine warehouse. In addition to the complete variety, another characteristic was that it was packed together. Chu Yang was truly perplexed as he watched. Everywhere he looked, he was shocked. However, instead of saying that this place was like a palace, it was more appropriate to say that it was a medicine garden. Although this place had been in disrepair for a long time and was full of scars, there were still some remnants of the past. All kinds of glory of the past were still vivid in his eyes. For example, there should have been a fence over there. Now, only a small half of it was left. Even that small half had decayed and was barely holding on. Perhaps a gust of wind could easily destroy it. Oh my God! This decayed fence is actually silver soul wood. Sword Spirit clicked his tongue in wonder. This thing is said to be immortal for 100,000 years. How can it be decayed to this extent? There are too many incredible places here. Chu Yang's eyes were like an eagle's. They were extremely sharp as they swept across this courtyard. After a long while, he slowly said, "Sword Spirit, I believe that you can also see that this should be a herb garden. Although there are many kinds of species in this incredible place, there is only one explanation that can explain all these strange things. No, I should say that this is the only explanation that can explain all these incredible things." Speaking till here, Chu Yang subconsciously hesitated for a moment. Obviously, the explanation he thought of might be reasonable or could explain everything perfectly, but this explanation itself was another kind of inconceivable thing. It was another thing that shouldn't exist. Sword Spirit asked, "What is it? Why did you stop halfway? Don't be in a trance. I'm really confused right now." Chu Yang paused again. It seemed that he was thinking about how to phrase it. After a while, he said, "The spiritual energy here is undoubtedly very suitable for the growth of medicines. Moreover, it can provide for all the medicines to grow at the same time. Therefore, there is no monopoly here. Because everyone can grow peacefully here. There is no need to compete. The nutrients are extremely sufficient." Sword Spirit nodded in agreement. "Yes, there is no doubt about this. It must be like this. Therefore, the trees here can grow to the limit of their age. They don't need to be eaten by insects or struck by lightning. They will naturally die of old age. Then, new shoots will sprout and grow again. The elixirs here are all like this. The cycle repeats. In the world, except for a few kinds of extremely rare elixirs of heaven and earth that can grow almost indefinitely, all the other elixirs have their own growth cycle and limits. They may live for thousands of years, tens of thousands of years, or even hundreds of thousands of years. But they will decay one day and turn into dust. And they will become dust along with the world. When they finally turn into dust, their seeds will still continue to grow on this land. And this cycle will eventually lead to the scene that we see now." Chu Yang gave a conclusion. "This should be a medicine garden." Moreover, it is a kind of exclusive medicine garden. There are only weeds and worthless herbs over there. The elixirs that are qualified to be here must have been collected. And they won't be planted later. Sword Spirit looked carefully for a while and said in agreement, "This should be the case." The two of them carefully identified the path and slowly walked forward along the road that was no longer recognizable as a road. Along the way, they constantly made new discoveries. Almost every few hundred feet on both sides of the road, there was a house. Moreover, behind the house, there was bound to be an empty courtyard. The house here should be for the guards who guarded this place in the past. As they walked forward, the unknown spiritual energy became denser and denser. It was so dense that it had never been seen before. It almost surpassed the level of the divine source. Chu Yang knew that this place should be the heart of this medicinal garden. Looking up, it was as he had expected. It was a barren land. The weeds were as thick as a few thousand feet. What Chu Yang found strange was that such a height that was beyond common sense couldn't be seen from outside. Could it be the effect of the space netherworld soul stone? And in the heart of the medicine garden, there was another house. Or, it should be called a palace. A palace in the standard sense. Above the palace gate, there were 3 big words. Even though they were 1,000 feet away, they were still shining and could be seen clearly. Divine Palace of the Medicine King. The two of them were excited and naturally walked over involuntarily. In front of the Divine Palace of the Medicine King, there were still 2 stone tablets. They couldn't be seen before, probably because the thick weeds had blocked their view. On the stone tablets, there were words engraved. The first tablet, Divine Palace of the Medicine King, the residence of the ancient Medicine King. All the elixirs in the world gather and grow. All living things are reborn here. Juniors who obtain this can obtain the inheritance of the Medicine King. Their golden elixir will be refined 100 times, and they will be able to reach the top and look down on the world. The ancient divine palace of the Medicine King. Chu Yang sighed. It's really a blessed paradise that has seized the good fortune of heaven and earth. Presumably, the purple cloud heavenly emperor back then was able to rise to the top of the celestial imperial court in such a short period of time and become a celestial emperor because he had obtained this unprecedented great opportunity. Sword Spirit was silent. His face was full of shock. Chapter 1933. The last line of words on the stele was obviously added at the very last moment. The handwriting is not the same. As the current Medicine King, I should pass down this legacy to the world. Unfortunately, there are rumors of extraterrestrial demons wreaking havoc. We discussed and decided to abandon this place and kill all the demons. If the demons are not destroyed, I will not return. Seeing this line of words, Chu Yang suddenly felt a sharp pain in his heart. Extraterrestrial demons. Extraterrestrial demons again. Since ancient times, how many heroes disappeared from the world in order to kill extraterrestrial demons? And this Medicine King went just like that, and now he had not returned. His ending could be imagined. Could it be that there was no end to killing extraterrestrial demons? On the other tablet, the handwriting was full of hostility. Chu Yang had seen this handwriting before. It was the handwriting of the heavenly emperor of purple clouds, Zihao himself. I, Zihao, am fortunate to have this palace of the Medicine King. I will bring it to greater heights. And for the Medicine King, I will kill extraterrestrial demons. Seeing this, Chu Yang could not help but sigh. The palace of the Medicine King was built by the ancient Medicine King. It contained the longevity technique, Jindan technique, creation technique, heavenly fate technique, and so on. There were dozens of magical techniques that humans had no chance of seeing. Any one of them could change the fate of the fated person, turning something rotten into something magical, turning the absurd into a legend. And the Medicine King, because he had sensed the ambitions of the extraterrestrial demons, he crossed the heavens with a few brothers to destroy them. Unfortunately, he did not return. And before he left, he seemed to have realized something and left his legacy in the human world. He also left a spark for the future, a hope. The heavenly emperor of purple clouds, Zihao's words were very clear. Zhao himself was the successor of the first king of medicine. He was the first person to place his hopes on. Zhao started to rise rapidly after he had obtained the palace of the medicine king. Using the Jindan technique, creation technique, and so on, he became a heavenly emperor in a very short time. And he did not go back on his promise and indeed fought with the extraterrestrial demons to the last moment of his life. The only regret was that the heavenly emperor of purple clouds still could not change people's hearts. In the end, he was defeated by the despicable side of human nature. If that's the case, the problem of extraterrestrial demons has been around for a long time. If it wasn't for the Medicine King and the other seniors who went to eliminate them, the development of the heavenly devils would have been even faster. Tian would have been in an unknown state by now. In other words, although the King of Medicine and the other seniors had not returned, they had successfully delayed the footsteps of the extraterrestrial demon for millions of years. Their sacrifice is of great value, but this value is only reflected in the lives of the common people. To them, it is sorrow and betrayal. Chu Yang said in a low voice, "What I said is reasonable? Isn't that a little too extreme?" The sword spirit pondered for a while and said, "No, this is the truth. These seniors shed blood and beheaded the people of the world, fleeing for his life in a foreign land. In the end, how many people in the world will remember those seniors who sacrificed themselves?" Chu Yang laughed coldly. Later on, the Purple Firmament's celestial emperor fought against the extraterrestrial demons with all his might. Although he was destroyed in the end, I believe that he still greatly damaged the vitality of the extraterrestrial demons. As a result, the Sky Fiend could only occupy the Purple Firmament until now. There was no further movement to expand. I even suspect that it is not that they do not want to expand, but that they do not have the strength to continue. Is it appropriate for me to understand it this way? Chu Yang asked again. Even if there are discrepancies, I believe that it is not much different from the truth. The sword spirit nodded vigorously. How many years has it been since the Purple Firmament's celestial emperor died? Chu Yang asked. Well, it is probably close to 1,000,000 years. The sword spirit sighed. 1,000,000 years is enough for them to recuperate and accumulate strength. After this period of recuperation, the extraterrestrial demons should be about to recover their vitality. They may even have recovered their vitality. They are not moving for the time being, just waiting for an opportunity to attack. In other words, the great tribulation of the extraterrestrial demons of the Heaven Imperial Court is about to come again. Chu Yang's voice was heavy, and a sense of crisis rose from the bottom of his heart. The sword spirit said in an equally heavy tone, "Sigh, although I am very unwilling to admit it, judging from the time, it is indeed about time. 1,000,000 years of accumulation is enough to erase any losses." Chu Yang sighed and bowed in front of the 2 tablets of the 2 seniors. Then he strode into the palace of the King of Medicine. Inside, there was an extremely detailed instruction map. Practice area, elixir area, archives area, cultivation area, residential area. There were all kinds of facilities. As long as you could think of it, you could find it here. Chu Yang entered the archives area at once. This was the core area and also the lifeline of a force. When he entered, he saw a large, empty room. There seemed to be only 5 shelves inside, and each shelf only had 1 piece of jade. It was a bit of an exaggeration to say that it was a room to store ancient books. It didn't live up to its name. Chu Yang did not neglect it all. He approached the first shelf and locked his eyes on the jade. There were only a few words engraved on the jade. Only a few words. Chu Yang had just looked at it when he immediately felt a majestic saber intent that wanted to cut through the world and the firmament. I am the Saber King. There is no other saber in the world, the first saber in the firmament since ancient times. I went to Qiongshao to fight the extraterrestrial demons and threw away the flashy. The Saber King's inheritance is here. If the younger generation obtains it, the name of the Saber King will never be extinguished. Blood as the guide, soul as the foundation, saber energy enters the body, obtain my inheritance. The Saber King's inheritance. It is the Saber King's inheritance. Chu Yang was shocked. Then he reached out and picked up the jade. Using his finger as a knife, he cut his index finger and dripped his blood on the white jade. Then, a saber energy appeared out of thin air and went straight for Chu Yang's glabella. With Chu Yang's cultivation, there was no room for him to dodge. Saber. A big word appeared in Chu Yang's mind. With a cursory look, he saw that it included how to use the saber, how to cultivate the saber. Everything about the saber, countless techniques about the saber. It could be said that it had everything, and it was full of essence. All the doubts Chu Yang had about the saber in the past were cleared up after a cursory look. As expected of the Saber King's inheritance, it is really impressive. This Saber King's inheritance is most useful to Wuxiang. When I meet him in the future, I must spar with him and let him inherit this inheritance. It seems to be a waste to leave it here with me. Chu Yang took a deep breath and calmed his emotions. He walked towards the second wooden shelf. But before he could even reach Zhang Xian, a sharp sword aura had already surged toward him. I am the Sword King. The Sword King. The Sword King's inheritance is all here. Chu Yang was shocked. The Sword King's inheritance was useful to him, Gu Duxing, Luo Kedi, GMO, Ao Shiyun and the rest. Then, like before, he collected the Sword King's inheritance and moved forward again. Next was the Poison King's inheritance. Next was the Spear King's inheritance. Last was the Medicine King's inheritance. The Poison King's inheritance is suitable for Le and Wu Jueqing. As for the Spear King's inheritance, it seems that there is no suitable candidate. I'll leave it to fate. Chu Yang thought as he collected the inheritance. When it came to the Medicine King's inheritance, Chu Yang finally took it seriously. The Purple Cloud Heavenly Emperor finally became a Heavenly Emperor with this inheritance. Based on the current situation, the Purple Cloud Heavenly Emperor probably did not reach the level of the Medicine King even at his peak. Chu Yang sighed with emotion in his heart. This is really fate and luck. If the Purple Cloud Heavenly Emperor, Zihao, had not been conferred the title of Purple Cloud Heavenly Emperor back then, but had come from another world as long as he was given enough time, he would have been able to contend against the heavenly demons with the power of a single world, or even slaughter them. It was a pity that he was conferred the title of Purple Cloud Heavenly Emperor. But Chu Yang thought about it. With the Purple Cloud Heavenly Emperor's temper, even if he was given the chance to choose, he might not choose another world, right? His only choice would only be Purple Cloud Heavenly, which was closest to his enemy. If not, then he would not be the Purple Cloud Heavenly Emperor. Facing the remains of his ancestors, Chu Yang sighed. Sword Spirit, I think there is a high chance that the Purple Cloud Heavenly Emperor's medicine spirit was obtained here. Chu Yang finally understood something. And that unknown yet familiar aura just now should be the aura left behind by the Purple Cloud Heavenly Emperor's medicine spirit. The Sword Spirit also realized at once. Yes, there is a high possibility. I think the medicine spirit's original body is very likely here. After the medicine spirit's incarnation disappeared with the Purple Cloud Heavenly Emperor, the medicine spirit's original body here also turned into ashes immediately. But the medicinal power contained in its original body did not dissipate. This also caused the strange phenomenon here. Chu Yang speculated slowly. Yes, it should be so. The Sword Spirit completely agreed with Chu Yang's speculation. And the few sworn brothers who went to the disaster with the Purple Cloud Heavenly Emperor should have cultivated the cultivation techniques of the Saber King, Sword King, Poison King and the others. Chu Yang said, therefore, the few of them could walk the world side by side, establish illustrious achievements, and not fall into the secular world. Even if they had a certain foundation in the past, the ones who really rose should also be after obtaining these inheritances. Yes. Only this makes sense. The Sword Spirit agreed repeatedly. The divine palace of the Medicine Kings can not only grow large amounts of medicinal herbs, but the space inside is also abnormally vast. Chu Yang said, other than growing medicinal herbs, it should also be able to accommodate thousands of troops. Why did the Purple Cloud Heavenly Emperor place it here but not use it for war? With this space, The battle tactics he can use will undoubtedly be even more wonderful. This part is puzzling. The sword spirit said, "Indeed, I also can't understand this part. Looking at the layout inside, I'm afraid that the purple firmament heavenly emperor really did station an army here back then. However, why did this treasure end up in this small city on the edge of the border? This is really unclear." But the sword spirit hesitated. But what? Chu Yang turned back sensitively. Legend has it that there is a kind of life space, which is roughly equivalent to our tribulation space. If one's cultivation reaches a certain level, even if the person dies, the space can still exist independently and return to the place where it first existed. According to ancient legends, this kind of space is called the self-created universe. Chapter 1934. In other words, this person was about to reach the point where he could create the world on his own. But he died. The sword spirit smiled bitterly. This statement is more or less inauspicious. Chu Yang snorted. Bah, what inauspicious. Even the god of creation will die when it's time for him to die. What's so inauspicious about this? And there's no other explanation for the situation here. Then, it's the inauspicious thing you mentioned just now. The two discussed as they walked, and slowly came to the main hall of the palace of the Medicine King. In the main hall, there were 5 seats arranged in a circle, and in the middle of the circle was a small tea table. It faintly emitted a dark red light. It's the eternal, undying, heavenly crystal jade. The sword spirit opened his eyes wide. Chu Yang didn't ask. Although he knew that something that could make the sword spirit so surprised must be something extremely rare, his mind was completely not here at the moment. Chu Yang was only paying attention to the 5 seats at the moment. Suddenly he was a little touched. Because of these 5 seats, Chu Yang thought of his brothers who he hadn't seen for a long time. When he and the others were together, there was no distinction between seniority and seniority. They just sat in a circle like this, or even lay down and crawled. Anyway, they were as comfortable as they could be. And the deeper meaning of these 5 seats was like this. Just by looking at the arrangement of these 5 seats, Chu Yang could imagine how happy the Medicine King and his brothers were when they were together. They were so harmonious and carefree. Between them, there was no distance at all. The 5 seats were so close to each other. Presumably, when they sat together, they would casually touch other people if they stretched out their hands or moved. But as long as they were together, they just sat like this, so close to each other. They didn't have any guard against each other at all. This everlasting heavenly crystal jade quietly witnessed the deep friendship between them for who knew how many tens of thousands of years. Just looking at it like this, Chu Yang only felt the most sincere friendship spontaneously rise. In the middle of the heavenly crystal jade tea table, there was a slightly protruding object, which emitted a fluorescent white light. Chu Yang walked over respectfully and sat on one of the chairs. Chu Yang took out 5 wine cups from the tribulation space and filled them one by one. Then, he said with emotion, "Seniors, Junior Chu Yang would like to propose a toast to you. Although Senior's physical body isn't here, Senior's heroic spirit hasn't been extinguished. I hope you can feel my feelings and the friendship between the two of you. Really want to have it. And I already have it. I hope so. The friendship between me and my brothers can also be like yours, until the end of time." Chu Yang grabbed the wine jar. He drained the cup in one gulp and said, "Seniors, I'll drink first. Let's do it." Suddenly, the 5 wine cups in front of him moved at the same time. They slowly floated up and tilted slightly. In an instant, not a single drop of wine was left in them. It seemed like someone was raising it and drinking it in one gulp. But the 5 wine cups returned to their original positions at the same time, remaining motionless. This scene was very strange, and even very frightening. However, Chu Yang acted as if he didn't see anything. It seemed as if he was already used to it. He smiled and said, "Thank you. Many thanks to the 5 seniors for coming. Please have another drink." Just like that, cup after cup was poured down. After the first round of wine was finished, the wine cup no longer moved. For eternity. For eternity. For eternity. After drinking the round of wine, for eternity. Chu Yang not only understood the meaning of this, but also deeply experienced it. Moreover, he could vaguely feel a sense of gratification from the chair he was sitting on, from the 5 empty wine glasses, and from the other chairs. It seemed like 5 good friends were smiling at each other. This feeling made Chu Yang couldn't help but tear up a little. I don't know if you are still here, but if you are, I hope that one day we can gather together, drink together, and get drunk. Chu Yang said sincerely. Then he looked at the small protrusion on the tea table. This protrusion gave Chu Yang a very magical feeling. This protrusion, maybe, could be the key to this palace of the Medicine King. He touched it gently with his finger and pressed down hard, but it didn't move at all. The way to activate it wasn't to press down. Chu Yang tried to lift it up again, but it only moved slightly. There were still no more changes. Suddenly, the halo on the small protrusion suddenly increased. In the halo, a passage of words faintly appeared. The essence of heaven, the soul of jade, becomes the crystal of heaven. The origin of the planet, the spirit of all living things, big enough to contain heaven, small enough to hide mustard, watered with blood, keep my palace. Chu Yang's heart trembled. He finally understood the origin of this palace of the Medicine King. The essence of this palace should be after the destruction of a world. The original essence of the world was extremely condensed. A world as big as the heavenly palace was condensed into this palace of the Medicine King. And the button on the tea table was the hub of the entire palace of the Medicine King. According to the hint on the halo, as long as he dripped his blood, he could take the entire palace of the Medicine King as his own. And such an important place, the Medicine King just left it in the middle of the tea table where he drank with his brothers. What kind of trust was this? What kind of deep friendship was this? With a kind of heartfelt reverence, longing, and some inexplicable feelings, Chu Yang once again cut his index finger. Blood dripped down from the white button. The fluorescent white light gradually added a pink color, but there was no change for the time being. Chu Yang activated his energy, encouraging the blood to continue flowing, and continuously pouring it into this little button. What kind of feeling was it to see his own blood slowly flowing out? Chu Yang was currently intoxicated by this wonderful feeling. He did not know how much blood he had lost, but in Chu Yang's senses, it should be at least 2 big bowls, or else why would he feel dizzy? This was the standard symptom of excessive blood loss. No matter how strong Chu Yang was, he was still a human body, and there was a limit to the blood in the human body. No matter how high his cultivation was, he could not eliminate this point. In the face of such a large demand, Chu Yang could only constantly comfort himself. Old blood will definitely be able to maintain an endless supply. At most I will waste a heavy pill later to replenish my blood. Otherwise, before this thing becomes mine, my life will become the king of hells. Just as Chu Yang was constantly complaining and comforting himself, in a daze, the pink light suddenly flashed, and then became a glaring white light. Then, the crystal jade button suddenly rose up and emitted a colorful light. The whole space seemed to be shrinking rapidly. The button spun rapidly in the air. With every rotation, the palace of the King of Medicine shrank a little. Finally, Chu Yang himself felt a little crowded. It was not a little crowded, it should be very crowded. Chu Yang made a prompt decision and quickly left the big house, leaving the palace of the King of Medicine. He directly leaped into the air. Then, he was shocked to find that the entire palace of the King of Medicine was under his feet. The palace, which originally covered thousands of acres, was now only the size of an ordinary house, and had shrunk by thousands of times. However, above his head, there was still a button alone, and it was still spinning rapidly, emitting a white light. However, Chu Yang was surprised to find that the surrounding passers-by were completely indifferent to all of this. Is it only me who can see it? Chu Yang was a little puzzled. Of course. The sword spirit felt that the sword master's question was very, very stupid. Do you want to make a big fuss and let everyone know that you have benefited from it? No, of course I understand this logic. But the main problem now is, such a huge Zixia king's mansion has disappeared. Could it be that no one noticed it? That's not very possible, is it? Chu Yang pointed below. For example, if there was a mountain in front of your house in the city where you live, and it suddenly disappeared one day, wouldn't you be surprised at all? The sword spirit sighed. I can't believe that you are a legend, the legendary sword master of calamity. You can go down and take a look when you are done. Chu Yang was full of suspicion as he let out a "nis" sound. Then, a glaring light rose in front of him, and the Zixia palace suddenly shrank to the size of an egg, flew up from the ground, and spun around. It seemed that shrinking to the size of an egg was not the end. It continued to shrink, smaller and smaller. By the time it was in front of Chu Yang, it was already the size of a sesame seed. The whole divine palace instantly turned into a stream of light, and rushed into Chu Yang's body together with the button. Chu Yang only felt that his mind was spinning. In an instant he did not know north, south, east, west, and he was in a trance. If the sword spirit was not beside him, he, who was in mid-air, would definitely perform the free fall movement again to broaden the horizons of the local residents. And the divine palace of the Medicine King had already entered Chu Yang's calamity space. The purple cloud tower of the heavenly emperor of purple clouds slowly flew up and entered the divine palace of the Medicine King. Then, there was an inexplicable pagoda-shaped building in the divine palace of the Medicine King. Chu Yang looked at this change with his consciousness and could not help but murmur, "I'm afraid this is the true form of this place?" Then, he felt a strange feeling rise up spontaneously. The sword spirit said in surprise, "Sword Master, this divine palace of the Medicine King has a very unique power of space, and the calamity space also has a unique power of space. Although there are differences between the two, their essence is the same, and they are very easy to merge. And the ability and level of our calamity space are obviously higher than the divine palace of the Medicine King, so now the divine palace of the Medicine King is merging into the calamity space. What changes will there be after the merging? Or what new uses will there be?" Chu Yang asked excitedly. Chapter 1935. This I really don't know. We'll only know after the fusion. The sword spirit smiled awkwardly and bitterly. After all, this matter has never been heard of for thousands of years. To be able to come to such a space is already a great opportunity and blessing. You've obtained two at once. This can't even be described as a blessing. Your luck is too monstrous, too nature-defying. You're not human. Bah, you're not human. Why does it sound so bad when it comes out of your mouth? Forget it, just tell me how long this process will take? Chu Yang asked. The sword spirit continued to be embarrassed and smiled bitterly. This, I don't know. I guess it shouldn't be very long. Because now, the tribulation space has already accepted the idea of the divine palace of the Medicine King. There's no rejection between the two, so this process won't take too long. When the two of them really fuse, our new space should have a huge improvement and upgrade. Good, the stronger the better. The stronger it is, the more capital we have and the more confidence we have. Chu Yang said sincerely. The sword spirit also felt the same. If they could directly keep Heavenly Emperor Mo Yun inside and trample on him to their heart's content, that would be even better. But Chu Yang and the sword spirit both knew that such thoughts were just their own wishful thinking. Heavenly Emperor Mo Yun was at least at the level of Shui Leihan. Even if he might not be as good as Dong Huang, he believed that the difference wouldn't be too big. With all the current manpower, there was absolutely no chance to contend with such a strong person. Although the tribulation space was strong, its owner wasn't very powerful at the moment, so, with the help of the sword spirit, Chu Yang slowly landed on the ground. Landing at the corner of the street, he looked back and couldn't help but open his mouth and eyes wide. What's going on? Opposite him, there was still a majestic and magnificent building standing on the spot. Zixia Palace. Under the sunlight, it looked even more majestic and magnificent. Chu Yang only felt that his head was tied up. Pointing at Zixia Palace, he murmured, What's going on? Didn't I already? Why is it still here? What's going on? The sword spirit smiled strangely. The voice in the space said, Lord Swordmaster, you are really too ignorant. This is the embodiment of the natural defensive instinct of heaven and earth spirit creatures. After staying here for a long time, it will naturally form a kind of self-protection mechanism. Wuxia King's mansion has been here for hundreds of thousands of years. Naturally, it has already formed this kind of protective mechanism. At this moment, even if someone took it away in the short term, in the eyes of outsiders, it would be impossible for them to escape. It's still the same. After all, the thing inside was already gone. It looked like this to the eyes, but it was just a kind of visual deception. You'll discover that this place is nothing but a void. The sword spirit said, it will happen after some time. That was why the situation suddenly disappeared. But by that time, everything will have already been done, especially since this prince's mansion is still ours. We only need to build a wall on the outside and use the name of renovation to fool people. Once the new mansion is officially completed, no one will know. I see. Your idea is really good. I'll arrange some people to prepare for the reconstruction work later. Chu Yang nodded and sighed from the bottom of his heart. The creation of heaven and earth is indeed mysterious and full of wonders. On the way back, Chu Yang deliberately walked a lot slower. But all the way until he reached home, he didn't discover any movement coming from the space. It seemed that the so-called fusion was still slowly progressing. For the time being, he couldn't see anything, let alone feel anything. Chu Yang sighed and was about to go home when he heard a commotion inside. A voice was shouting loudly, Fishy! Come out, little one. I know your little one is here. Quickly come out, come out, come out, ah. This voice was very sharp. It was obviously a woman. But it was very fierce, very shrewish, and not to be trifled with. At the very least, Chu Yang already had goosebumps all over his body when he heard this voice. Damn, who is this? Oh my God, if such a woman is my wife, can I still live? Then, he thought, could this be the legendary fiancé of heaven and earth spirit creatures? Thinking of this, he immediately felt refreshed. All his depression disappeared. His mood changed instantly, turning into 3 parts sympathy, 3 parts pity, 3 parts schadenfreude, and 1 part anticipation, pleasing to the eye, relaxed and happy. Why would I be schadenfreude? Waha, I'm not a schadenfreude, wah. Chu Yang went in with a face full of smiles. Who is this person? A certain cat treats a certain someone like a brother. He saw a lot of people chasing a young girl. This young girl had a graceful figure, exquisite curves, and a pretty face. It could be seen that she was definitely an outstanding beauty. The only fanciful thing about it was that it had a pair of pointy ears and a furry tail behind it. However, it was undoubtedly more provocative. Now, the young girl was angrily rushing left and right, shouting, Fishy! You're a coward! Why don't you come out? Why don't you dare to come out? Come out! Chu Yang was sweating profusely as he looked at her. His gloating had long since disappeared. My God, this is too valiant. Is she still a woman? Facing the crowd blocking her, the young girl was not afraid at all. What? I know that Fishy is right here. Why are you stopping me? I'm Fishy's fiancé. Why do you insist on stopping us husband and wife from reuniting? Are some of you drooling over Fishy's beauty? You Fishy, you've already learned how to flirt outside, and all of them are of the highest quality. You ungrateful person, come out. Around them, the lightning serpent led people to intercept them. Everyone felt like they were going to cry. Even Chu Yang could not bear to look at Lightning Snake's expression. What on earth did this girl do to actually provoke a peak saint, a half-step celestial being saber expert to this extent? Actually, he could more or less guess. Just based on her words just now, she directly covered everyone and attacked indiscriminately in a wide range. It was really too sharp and too domineering. But Chu Yang's curiosity was greatly aroused. He quietly went over and asked, What's going on? The lightning snake grabbed Chu Yang as if he had seen his savior. He wiped off his cold sweat and said, "Oh, Manor Lord, why did you come back so late? You didn't see her. She was so valiant, so valiant. I had never dreamt that Teacher Cat's fiancé would turn out to be such an outstanding man." A strong man? What did he mean? How could he tell that this was a strong man? Chu Yang's head was full of black lines. He rubbed his eyes and observed again, but still could not find any clues about the strong man. "You don't know. Teacher Cat went out for a while just now. I don't know what he went to do. Soon, I saw him running back like he was being chased by a dog. He shouted to close the door and rushed in. That speed amazed me." Lightning Snake calmed down and began to tell the story. Chu Yang was dumbfounded and tongue-tied. How could Fishy's explosive speed amaze Lightning Snake? It was simply unimaginable. Teacher Cat's miserable situation at that time was so pitiful that it made one shed tears of sympathy. Then this girl came right after. Once she came, she didn't say anything. She just kicked our door and broke it. Lightning Snake wiped his sweat and said, then she roared, "Something's fishy. You little bastard who abandoned her after having sex with her." Chu Yang's mouth suddenly became crooked. What? Abandoned her after having sex with her? Abandoned her after having sex with her? Lightning Snake understood Chu Yang's current feelings very well. He said with lingering fear, "Then I heard this girl shouting and running around our courtyard." Chu Yang's head was full of black lines. Looking at the situation, this girl must have something to do with our Teacher Cat. How could we dare to hurt her? But when this girl saw that we did not dare to touch her, she became even more aggressive. She shouted, "I am Fishy's fiancé. This guy abandoned her after having sex with her. I want to settle accounts with him. This is a matter between the two of us. It has nothing to do with you. If you dare to stop me, I will remember you for a lifetime." Then she began to rush around. The situation became more and more serious. In the end, you saw it with your own eyes. "We are innocent." Lightning Snake's face twitched a little. He said, "Manor Lord, it is not that I have not seen the world. It is just that I have lived for so long, and I have never seen such a girl, any of them." Chu Yang patted Lightning Snake's shoulder sympathetically. He said with sympathy, "I have never seen such a girl, but we still have to continue to block them because Teacher Cat is scared out of his wits. How could he dare to let them meet face to face? But this girl barged in. It was okay at first, but now she is directly using her body. Oh my God. She is really a woman, a real man." Lightning Snake wanted to cry but had no tears. She is our brother's wife. Who would have the nerve to collide with her? Chu Yang's face was also sad. She is really a real man. Lightning Snake did not deceive me. Chu Yang didn't just have a miserable look on his face. His entire body was miserable because that woman was rushing towards him. "Are you the manor lord of this place?" That woman came over aggressively. Her cattail was swaying back and forth behind her. She looked at Chu Yang with her beautiful big eyes. She pointed a finger at Chu Yang's nose and said, "Are you that Chu Yang?" Cough cough. I am not." Chu Yang's eyes evaded her gaze. The thought of running away emerged in his heart one after another. This girl was so aggressive that she almost scared the dignified Minister Chu to the point of wetting his pants. Chapter 1936. Young Miss, he is our Villa Master Chu. He's the head of our manor. We listen to everything he says. We don't have anything to do with Shady Cat. Lightning Snake betrayed Chu Yang without any sense of loyalty. He shouted, "Miss, if you want to find Shady Cat, you can ask Chu Yang for him. We really can't find him." After he finished speaking, he immediately slipped away. Chu Yang was dumbfounded. He shouted, "Lightning Snake, I'll remember you for a lifetime. Don't expect to get a salary." But Lightning Snake had already disappeared. His voice came from afar, "It's okay. In this world, who still relies on a salary? I'm afraid you've forgotten about me." In the blink of an eye, the girl had already rushed up to Chu Yang. She grabbed Chu Yang's collar and shouted, "Well, so it was you who hid Greasy Cat. Quickly hand over that little thing to me. Chu Yang's face was full of cold sweat. This? Let go first. I won't let go. The girl stared at Chu Yang with her big eyes. You're also not a good thing. Don't think you're so innocent. I saw your wives just now. There are actually 2 of them. Chu Yang only felt that he had been wronged. What's wrong with having 2 wives? You can't have 2 wives. The girl shouted. If Shady Cat dares to find 2 wives, I'll cut him. A man who has 2 wives is not a good thing. Well, you already have 2 wives. Why are you still pestering Shady Cat? Could it be that you're omnipotent? The girl's voice was fierce. Her domineering gaze swept down directly, faintly locking onto a certain place. Obviously, if someone was not careful, there would be a "there's nothing down there" situation. Chu Yang suddenly felt a chill in his crotch. It was as if a steel knife had been placed on his crotch. He almost pissed in his pants. I'm innocent. I don't have anything to do with that little girl. I can fall for anyone but that little girl. The girl's fierce gaze became even more intense. What did you say? How is Shady Cat not worthy of you? Why don't you like our teacher Cat? You tell me clearly. Oh my God. Where did you find this fiancée of yours? She's too much. I was clearly following her words just now. Why is she still not satisfied? Help. At this moment, there were only 3 words in Chu Yang's heart. Ha. What I mean is, actually, I'm not good enough for your cat teacher. No, your cat teacher doesn't like me at all. What am I? I'm nothing. Don't you think so? Chu Yang was on the verge of tears. His words were incoherent. He didn't even know what to say. That's more like it. Oh man. You can have nothing, but you have to have some self-awareness. You're not bad. Hey, where's my little fishy? You're not hiding her, are you? The little girl's expression changed at the drop of a hat. Just as he calmed down a little, he once again moved swiftly and decisively. Please let me go first. I'll be responsible for finding out what's fishy about you, okay? Immediately, right away, Chu Yang said. That girl looked at Chu Yang suspiciously. Really? If I lie to you, I'm fishy. Chu Yang swore. With your moral integrity. That girl looked at Chu Yang with distrust. You actually want to be fishy? Bah, I just said that you have some self-awareness and you've exposed yourself. Your true colors have been revealed. Have you taken a fancy to my beauty again? Am I right? Save me. Chu Yang screamed miserably. He said what was in his heart. At this critical moment, his savior finally appeared. Tai Bu Tian and Wu Qian came together. This, sister. That girl turned her head. She actually smiled, revealing a pair of small canine teeth. It was quite cute. Hello, sisters. Little sister, let go of him first and let him be responsible for finding the culprit. Let's go have a chat and drink something first. Little sister came all the way here, so as an elder sister, I should at least greet her. Tai Butian's natural bearing of a ruler gave this girl a great sense of security and trust at this moment. As for the trickery, you can rest assured, younger sister. He definitely won't be able to escape. Leave it to us. Really? That girl's eyes twinkled. She seemed really cute. Really? Tai Bu Tian nodded affirmatively. Okay. A certain girl finally let go of Chu Yang, allowing him to breathe in fresh air again. I believe in you, sisters. What's your name? Tai Bu Tian's smile was extremely warm and friendly at this moment. I'm Mao Xiaolan. Mao Xiaolan said, although I'm called Xiaolan, I'm actually not lazy at all. Tai Bu Tian couldn't help but grin and say, I can see, you're not lazy at all. Looking at the messy courtyard, how could a lazy person create such a powerful effect? Wow, what's this? Mao Xiaolan suddenly discovered a new world. She saw Brother Tiger lying obediently in Tai Bu Tian's arms, and her eyes couldn't help but turn green. So cute. Quick, give him to me. I want him so much. Tai Bu Tian was stunned. Brother Tiger in her arms was also stunned. Then, all the fur all over his body stood on end. He arched his body and glared at Mao Xiaolan. full of wariness. He wasn't really angry, but scared. If such a violent female cat really fell into her hands, what good would Brother Tiger do? He's really too beautiful, too cute, I want him so much. Mao Xiaolan flew over to snatch him. Wah! If I hadn't been engaged to Fishy since I was young, I would definitely marry him. Wah! Come quick, give me a hug. Meow. Brother Tiger jumped out of Tai Butian's arms with a somersault and fled, trembling all over as he fled. With a whoosh, he was nowhere to be seen. His speed was really fast, like a stray dog, like a fish that had escaped the net, leaving behind a trail of dust. Even after running for a few hundred feet, Brother Tiger still had lingering fear. He didn't dare to stay any longer. He turned back in a panic, his eyes full of fear, afraid that a certain cat girl would catch up to him. But what did I just hear? What a scary thing. She actually wants to marry me? Save my heavens, my earth, my God, my benefactor. Brother Tiger trembled all over like an old sow sifting chaff. This was too scary. As if he had been granted amnesty by the emperor, Chu Yang fled the moment Mao Xiaolan let go of him. His speed was not inferior to Lightning Snake or Brother Tiger's. It was really too scary. It was really not a normal kind of scary. Now I finally understand why Fishy wanted to hide. Why did he want to escape? Why couldn't he wait to escape when his cultivation wasn't that high? I understand now. Really. Teacher Cat really didn't have it easy. But no matter how hard it was for him, he couldn't have led such a disaster to my home. Thinking of this, Chu Yang was suddenly filled with anger. In a hidden corner of the Chu clan's warehouse, Chu Yang found Teacher Cat with ease. He saw Teacher Cat's body curled up behind a pile of junk. His face was already pale. Even though he was in such a hidden place, he was still trembling all over unconsciously. Fishy! Chu Yang roared, holding Teacher Cat in his hands like an eagle catching a chick. He yelled fiercely, "You idiot! You actually provoked such a scary existence to my Chu clan's compound. You really didn't let me down." Fishy's face was pale. His lips were blue with fright. "Brother, you are my brother. So lower your voice. This disaster of ours." Chu Yang was furious. "Bah, who is with you? It's your disaster. Don't drag me into it. No, don't drag my family into it." Fishy nervously tugged at his sleeve. "Brother, I have always treated you as my brother. Now Big Brother is on the verge of death. Can you just stand by and watch? Brother, you have to save me." Chu Yang was furious. Without another word, he picked up the cat and walked toward the hall. Fishy's soul was scared out of his body. Brother, I beg you. If you hand me over now, even if I don't die, I will lose 3 layers of skin. It's your business to lose 3 layers of skin. No matter what, it's better than losing 3 layers of skin for me, right? At this moment, Chu Yang didn't have the slightest bit of pity in his heart. With a heart of stone, he dragged Teacher Cat out of the hall. What a disaster! I don't dare to provoke him no matter what. Fishy wailed, "Oh my God, no, help me. Just let me go." That scream was as if Chu Yang was going to do something to him. But Chu Yang put him on the ground angrily. He stopped smiling and asked seriously, "Old cat, let me ask you, how long can you run away from this? A day? 10 days? Or a month? A year?" Fishy was stunned. He looked at Chu Yang with misty eyes and whimpered, "I can run away for a day." "Even if it's a day, it would be great if I can run away for a month or a year." Chu Yang asked, "Even if you can run away for a month or a year, can you run away for a generation?" Fishy's eyes widened. "A generation? Definitely not." "Then can you marry another woman?" Chu Yang asked again. "No, definitely not." Fishy cried loudly. "My father will kill me, her father will kill me, and she will kill me too. Even if they don't kill me, I won't have the face to live. A man can't live without faith. It's the same for cats. When I agreed back then isn't the conclusion that you are destined to marry her in the future? Isn't that so?" Chu Yang asked. "Yes." Thinking of this, Fishy's sorrow came from his heart. "My future, dark days, can already be foreseen. Since this is destined, why don't we just do it now? Chu Yang said, the more you run away, the greater your resentment. If you run away until you have wasted your youth, then it will really be the tragedy of your generation. Think about it. Fishy was stunned. P.S. I wanted to explode yesterday, but something happened. My mood fell to the bottom. Yesterday, Aunt Feng drove to eat with a friend. The three of us were eating in a hotel room. Halfway through the meal, we heard a crash outside. A motorcycle braked 30 meters away and slid down. The motorcycle slid 30 meters and crashed into my car. I finally understood the saying, disaster descends from the sky. The most impressive thing was that the motorcycle rider was drunk driving. Even more impressive was that when I asked him, he admitted that I recorded it. Then he denied it today. He said that I crashed into him. Then he told me, you have to pay me back. I have hepatitis. Everyone can guess how speechless I am. There was a surveillance camera at the entrance of the hotel. When the traffic police took out the video, this guy said that we faked it. The scratch was more than 30 meters long and there was a deep groove in the road. He said that it wasn't his motorcycle but my car. The traffic police were so angry that they laughed. Your car can make such a mark? That car has 4 wheels facing the other side and uses the body of the car to drive? Speechless. He said that it wasn't my wife who drove the car. He pointed at me and said that I drove the car. Oh, the one who bought the cake. I think that this is the #1 joke of the year. Chapter 1937. Immediately, Shifty Cat lowered his head and pondered over Chu Yang's words. He didn't speak for a long time. Update P. Tell me honestly, do you like her? Chu Yang asked. If Shifty Cat said he didn't like her, Chu Yang decided to help his brother settle this matter even if it went against his conscience. Resentment would be a lifetime's misfortune. I like her. Shifty Cat sobbed. But I really don't like her temper. Sometimes I do like her, but I'm just afraid. I'm afraid from the bottom of my heart. Isn't it enough that you like her? Chu Yang clapped his hands. He didn't even hear what the guy said after that. What's there to be afraid of? Shifty Cat blinked. With tears in his eyes, he said tragically, I realize that talking to you now is like talking to a chicken talking to a duck. You can't understand the pain in my heart at all. You? Chu Yang chuckled. Let me tell you, she likes you a lot. I believe anyone can tell. Think about it, if she doesn't marry for the rest of her life and is alone for the rest of her life, until her hair turns white, until she dies, won't you be heartbroken? Yes. Shifty Cat said this with absolute certainty. When he thought of Lazy Cat being alone for the rest of her life, Shifty Cat suddenly felt suffocated and couldn't breathe. If she doesn't marry for the rest of her life and is alone for the rest of her life, it's all your fault. What do you say? Chu Yang asked again. Bullshit. Why would I do that? I'm not that kind of person. Shifty Cat was furious. Then tell me, what kind of person are you? Aren't you doing that right now? Chu Yang said coldly. Shifty Cat was stunned. For a long time, he didn't speak again. She can still come to you now and chase you to the ends of the earth because she thinks she still has the capital and she's still young and beautiful. But how many years of youth does a woman have? Wait a few more years. Her appearance has changed and her mentality has aged. Let me tell you, Shifty Cat. By then, even if you kneel in front of her and kowtow to her, she won't forgive you. She won't change her mind either. Chu Yang let out a long sigh. Old cat, this is what women are like. It wasn't easy for a man to touch a woman who loved him. Especially when this woman was someone he liked, it was even more difficult. It's too rare. Greasy Cat was in a trance. Chu Yang turned around and walked away. I'm annoyed by your behavior. Do as you please. If you really don't want to see her and want her to be alone for the rest of her life, old cat, I'll give her a chance. You should leave now. As your brother, I will go all out to protect you. Even if she chases after you, I will be in charge of stopping her. At the very least, I can guarantee you a month of time to escape. Wasn't it just a loss of conscience? For the sake of my brother, I'm willing to sacrifice my conscience. With that, Chu Yang turned around and left. He said, "Old cat, you can go now." 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps, Chu Yang counted in his heart. His heart was beating like a drum. "Why aren't you stopping me? Hurry up and stop me. Hurry up." However, there was no movement from Fishy Snake behind him. Chu Yang strode forward, seemingly without hesitation. In fact, he was already very, very nervous. If Fishy Snake really ran away, just as he was thinking, there was a sudden roar from behind. "Stop right there." Chu Yang smiled. He had just taken his 5th step. Greasy Cat rushed over, panting. His eyes looked like they were about to spit fire. "Why should I run? How can you give me such a bad idea? Is this what a brother should do? Has your conscience been eaten by a dog?" Chu Yang shrugged. "Big brother, I'm thinking for you." "Bah, you still dare to say that you're thinking for me? Are you just going to watch us be separated for a generation?" Greasy Cat asked angrily. "What does that have to do with me?" Chu Yang rolled his eyes. "I just want to be with my wife for a generation. Who can control you?" "Oomph." Greasy Cat walked away with his head held high and his chest puffed out. He went straight to the hall with a rather valiant and high-spirited attitude. "I want to face all of this. Isn't it just marrying a wife? What's the big deal? The woman I'm marrying is someone who loves me and someone I love. We're a match made in heaven, a perfect pair." "Good. You've got guts." Chu Yang praised loudly and gave him a thumbs up. The hall was getting closer and closer, but Greasy Cat was walking slower and slower. He no longer looked as valiant and high-spirited as before. Chu Yang followed behind him. He could clearly see the sweat on Greasy Cat's head and face dripping down. There were only 10 steps left until they reached the hall. Teacher Cat's legs began to go soft. Then they began to tremble. Then he began to shake like he was playing a pipa. Finally, he stopped walking. It seemed like he could no longer move. He turned his head and looked at Chu Yang with a pitiful expression. He said shakily, "Brother, why don't I just run away? Get the fuck in." Chu Yang was annoyed and amused at the same time. With a shout, he kicked Greasy Cat's fat buttocks hard. Fishy let out a blood-curdling scream and flew into the air, flailing his arms and legs. Like a swallow flying through the forest, a young swallow flying into his arms, he fell into the main hall. Smash! Greasy Cat fell to the ground on all fours. When he looked up, he saw a beautiful face in front of him. Then, that beautiful face began to gnash her teeth. "Good. Greasy Cat. Your little one is finally willing to show up. Help." Greasy Cat felt his lower body suddenly become anxious. He cried out loudly with tears and snot. Tai Bu Tian and Wu Qian looked at each other and smiled. Then they quietly left the hall. This is between the two of them. It's better not to eavesdrop. Chu Yang didn't go in at all. He only hid outside the hall to eavesdrop. It was the wall between the two of them that needed to be eavesdropped. Then, they heard the sound of a diligent person hitting a sandbag while practicing martial arts. Bang 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 bang. Greasy Cat's miserable cries and pleas for mercy followed. "Oh, spare me. I won't do it again. I won't do it again. I won't do it again even if you beat me to death. Help." There was no answer. Only the sound of bang 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 continued. Chu Yang's eyebrows twitched wildly. Cold sweat broke out on his forehead. "Oh my God. Such a wife. Oh, thank God, this is not my wife." As Minister Chu was thinking, he suddenly thought of Zi Xiecheng. He couldn't help but shudder. He wanted to cry but had no tears. "Brother, I have to improve my strength as soon as possible. Otherwise, how much stronger can I be than Greasy Cat?" She seemed to be worse than him. After a long time. "You're still running? Let's see where you can run to." "I won't do it again. I really won't do it again. Let me go." "Humph. Let you go? Or let me kill you first?" "I'll let you go after you're dead." Bang bang bang, boo-hoo. "I regret it." "What do you regret?" "Why did I listen to that little one's nonsense? I should have run." "What? You came back because you listened to someone else? Why did you listen to that person? Do you have a way out? Tell me clearly." Bang bang bang. After a long while, Lazy Cat walked out with Greasy Cat, who looked like a pile of mud. He saw Chu Yang right away. He glared at him and asked, "What are you doing here?" Chu Yang quivered and said, "Nothing, nothing." Then he suddenly felt that something was wrong. He glared back at him and said, "This is my house. What do you think I'm doing here?" At this moment, Greasy Cat, who was being carried, moaned weakly. "Brother, save me." Before he finished speaking, Chu Yang had already turned around and ran away without any sense of brotherhood. He disappeared quickly. What the heck? There was a loud bang behind him. Then a voice said, "You actually dare to call for help? Come. Call again. Call again, call again. No one will come to save you even if you scream until your throat is broken." Greasy Cat was completely silent. Disappointment, hopelessness, despair. In short, there was no hope. Tai Budian came out. She stood beside Chu Yang, who was still in shock. There was a smile on her lips, totally unconcerned. Chu Yang said worriedly, "Tianan, you won't really kill him, right?" Tai Budian sighed. "You don't understand women at all." Chu Yang was stunned. For a moment, he didn't know how to respond. On the other side, Wu Qianqian covered her mouth and laughed. Her eyes were full of mockery as she looked at Chu Yang. Chu Yang flew into a rage out of humiliation. He said fiercely, "What does it matter if I understand or not? Even if I don't, didn't I still carry the two of you to bed?" The two women's faces turned red instantly. Their fists and legs came at him. Chu Yang dodged left and right, counterattacking continuously. He touched the two women whenever he could and took advantage of them. His current strength was far above the two women's, and he had already mastered the full power of the saint level. At this moment, it was naturally easy for him to bully the two women. If Dong Huang or the original owner of the Heaven and Earth Creation Pill were to see this, they would probably vomit blood. What kind of sin have I committed? I risked my life and spent so much time and effort to refine this elixir, only to save such a despicable, shameless, and vulgar guy? After a long, long time, the bullying finally came to an end. The two women's faces were flushed red. They took the initiative to put up the no fight sign. Faced with this guy's roguish methods that were impossible to guard against, if they continued to fight, they would probably be carried to bed by him in broad daylight. With a red face, Tai Budian quickly changed the topic. She said, "Chu Yang, there's something that I still don't understand." "What is it?" Chu Yang asked. "Back then, Yun Tian once said something that you told me. I still remember it vividly." Tai Budian said, "Back then, Yun Tian said, the matters of the martial world are the mischief of the younger generation. You can't interfere. Unless it's a matter of life and death, you can't interfere. Once you do, it's a taboo in the martial world." Chu Yang nodded. He did say this before. What's wrong? Tai Budian was shocked. She said, "Also, Yun Tian once said that the competition between the sects of the martial world is dominated by the younger generation. Life and death, victory and defeat, it's up to fate. If a senior interferes and causes death or injury, the sect that this person belongs to will definitely be punished by the world. Has there ever been such a thing as life and death, victory and defeat? It's up to fate? Please vote for me. Continue to write the third update." Cough. At the end of the previous chapter, I mainly explained the reason why I didn't explode yesterday. So many people are scolding me for lying and pretending to be pitiful. Whether I'm lying or not, I believe that there must be someone who has a friend named Lai Wu, right? Let him ask around and he'll know. This matter is very sensational on our side. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Immortal Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.